Hey, thank you so much for tuning in today and welcome to my podcast studio. Before we start on today's episode, I just wanted to take a quick moment to say I am truly grateful for you being here. It means the world to me and my guest for us to be able to share our conversation with you. If you do like what we're talking about, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. And if we do talk about something that you either agree or disagree with, please put it in the comments. We would love to hear your feedback. Also, please don't forget, I do a lot more than just podcasts. So every Tuesday, I'll put out a drum playthrough. I'll also documenting my journey on writing my solo album, which will feature a lot of guests that have been on the podcast. I'm also putting up a lot of tips and tricks of stuff that we do talk about in some of the podcasts, like insights that I get from some of the guests that share their journey in the music industry. Once again, thank you so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And again, please don't forget to subscribe. Let's get into it.
Anniversary saw the new machine long sleeve with the logo.
I was looking at that on the website.
I just got it. I was going to wear it, but we were talking about the weather before. It's like it felt a little too warm to wear it, so I just thought,
it's pretty hot today, man. Like when I had to come outside and pick you up, it's like, whoa.
Yeah, I know.
It's been really cold, and then all of a sudden it's like.
I think with the sun, like you said, it was. I think the sun coming out.
Yeah, yes, it's just because you're in the sun.
Yeah,
sweet man.
Yeah.
Cool. I've just started recording,
cool.
Man.
Let's get into it.
We can go for it, man. Thanks so much for coming in, by the way. You're the second band, but actually it's not entirely all the band, but maybe you could introduce yourself just to say what we're...
You go first then?
No, you go first, because then I can explain who I am.
Okay, so my name's Brendan, and I'm the vocalist for All This Filth, and main man, and only remaining original member. That's my thing.
We can have a chat about that later.
Oh yeah. Bring it on. Yeah.
And I'm the manager for All This Filth, and I also run gigs as well, which is partly why we're here talking about Metal United Down Under, which All This Filth will be appearing at as well.
What's your name?
Andrew Massey.
What's your name, man?
Everyone should already know my name by now.
But nobody.
Yeah, I know.
For the people at home, come on.
And you run a really cool radio show as well.
Up in Rockingham, or down in Rockingham, I should say, which you've actually been on once or twice before in the past as well. So thanks for doing that as well. We've had some great conversations.
Yeah, really enjoyed it.
All that stuff.
Yeah.
I do a lot of different things, to be honest. And then working with All This Filth is just one of the many things that I do. Like yourself, just trying to be part of the music industry in general.
Yeah. Try and get some more eyes and ears.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
It's all about promoting and trying to get the word out on things that we love, and been passionate about.
And we might as well, we're talking about Metal United, we might start out by actually dropping the date so we can make sure the people that get in early here that they still know when
June 12th
to rock up.
Badlands Bar. Obviously, it's a national event, so the June 12th is run across Australia, including Sydney, Melbourne, Adelaide, Brisbane, and a few other regional towns as well.
They're all on the same day?
They're all on the same day.
It's been
the annual thing for the last 8 years. A guy named Michael Luders over in Sydney started it many years ago.
Yeah,
wicked. A couple of years ago, he started the worldwide version of it as well.
Wow.
So it's international, Europe, US, and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, couldn't really do it last year because of the pandemic. It probably won't happen this year either. But so Metal United Down Under is a fun event, I took over the Perth leg of it about 2 or 3 years ago. So it's been fun doing it, So,
yeah, wicked.
Yeah.
Wicked.
So, 12th of June at Badlands Bar, which is going to be a much bigger show than last year and the year before as well. So
you want to mention the other bands on? You may as well while we're at it.
Yeah, I mean...
While we're at it,
we try to stay away from headliners per se, but I mean, Depravity are going to be sort of one of the main acts of the night.
Yep.
Vanadium BC, who are kind of an old school metal band from back in the 90s. And then All This Filth, and then The Furor, which is featuring in my opinion, one of the best drummers in the Perth metal scene, Louis Rando. He's also the drummer for Depravity.
Yep.
Then we got a couple of newer bands that sort of start the night off: Infinite Exile, Jamaat, and Thunderblood. So good lineup. 7 bands, 60 hours of headbanging metal. So,
good mix too. I like a diverse bill with different sub-genres of heavy on it.
Yeah, well, that was something that I thought I started introducing a couple of years ago. Is trying to have a more diverse mix of bands, because rather than just having the same 4 or 5 death metal bands or whatever, how about have a bit of everything, and
For sure.
keep it interesting for everyone, and kind of get a bit of a different crowd as well at the same time.
I was just about to say, like the variety usually brings in different people as well.
Yeah. I think it kind of goes back to some of those old festivals like Big Day Out and things like that, where they kind of had a bit of a diverse sort of lineup.
Yep.
Maybe not quite as diverse as Big Day Out, because they had everything from
like just everything in the rock spectrum, really. Like,
well, even electronic music and all that stuff as well. I mean, they kind of went way out.
Well, Soundwave was more the alternative with they had heavier, but they had alternative as well.
Yeah,
they had,
so I guess we're kind of like the mini version of Soundwave Festival, I suppose you could put it.
Yeah, but we're not ripping off bands.
No, we're not AJ Metal.
Yeah, awesome, man. I'm looking forward to it. I'll be down to check it out.
Yeah, cool.
Sure,
Well, I'll put you on the door, and you can come in. And,
man.
Have fun with all the stuff that's happening. So
Man. Awesome, man. But Brendan, we want to have a chat about All This Filth.
What do you want to know?
Oh man, like it sounds.
I'm the band historian because I've been the one that's been there the longest, like the founding member, and so the guys joke around that I'm the band historian. So like whenever we do interviews, like they'll ask other people and they just sort of look at me and I'm like, all right,
here we go.
I'll fill in the blanks. So yeah.
Well, maybe that's why you've been sent out to be the ambassador today. So
yeah, that and scheduling,
yeah.
So yeah, no, it's all good. But yeah, thanks for having us on.
No, a pleasure. Like we've been talking about doing this for quite some time, but there's always been something coming up.
Pesky pandemic, man. It's it has interrupted a lot of things. In a global scale, you're just sort of like, it stuffed us up for touring as well. We had plans to go tour more East Coast when it hit. We'd just got back from New South Wales.
Oh, really?
We'd just done a run in New South Wales as the pandemic, like February 2020.
Yeah.
Early February 2020, and like it was just starting to like sort of trickle into to Australia and stuff, and I remember the panic buying had just started. Like not so much here in Perth, but over in Sydney, we were over there. And we were like, why the fuck can't we buy bottled water or toilet paper? And we're just like, what is happening here? And I was just like, stupid shopkeepers in New South Wales don't know how to keep their stores up. And then, the pandemic was hitting in and we got back just before all the borders closed and stuff. So lucky.
Shit.
But that stuffed us up. But, in a grand scheme of things, that's annoying, but it's not life-changing. There's people far worse off in places like India at the moment and stuff, There's people literally dying, so you can't really complain too much. You're like, yeah, it's inconvenient. Like, we can't have bands and we can't tour as freely as we want to, but, there's bigger things at play here,
Yeah. But has it impacted you in any other way last year?
Well, the thing was, it's like we had planned the whole of last year was going to be touring, like the whole of last year. So what it did, in a way, was like fast track us back onto the old recording, like writing and recording. We were writing in between. The plan was to write in between tours. So we're going to have tours planned, a couple gigs in Perth, and then tour, but and write in between. But like basically once the touring was taken out, we were just like, right, we'll get together and write. At the start of the pandemic, it was hard to get together because we had the restrictions where we couldn't even get together. So we just sort of worked individually, but we were lucky in WA, so and we were back playing shows in 2020 anyways. We played Slayfest in 2020, which was big.
It's a sold out.
Sold out at Badlands. And we also played we played a couple other shows as well. We played Hornography Halloween as well, which was cool. And so there was some cool stuff happen. But really it just sort of, we were like, right, well, we can't go over East again. Let's get back into it and start writing and get back in the studio as soon as we can to record and get that underway again. So and the plan is sort of to, like, once we finish, is to sort of go back on tour. Hopefully things will be open and it won't be so hard to tour, but we'll see. We don't know. So,
but it's one of the things, and again, it's a conversation I've had with so many other bands in the past. Like, it's like when and if, and like when can you go back to tour? Like, how will this? Like, what will the circumstances be like, and all that? Like,
well, I mean, it's hard because you got to plan tours months and months in advance.
That's
at
it.
The moment, you literally can't. You can't like plan that far ahead because, I mean, like, it was only a couple of weeks ago we had a lockdown over here. Imagine if we'd left the state and on that weekend to go tour. So we would have the gigs booked and everything. We're like, cool, we're heading to Melbourne or wherever, And then we get on a plane, and then we're mid-flight, and they're like, "Oh, there's been a COVID case in Perth." We get to Melbourne, they're like, "Right, you've got to quarantine for 2 weeks." They're like, "Well, yeah, but we only plan to stay for like five or 6 days, and we've got like shows." And they're like, "Well, that's too bad." And so that would have happened, but that's why it's hard. I agree with like keeping people safe and all that sort of stuff. I really do. I think that we're doing well here because we've done that, because of the lockdowns, because we're a bit more strict on it, which is inconvenient, but at the same time, it is doing a good thing with public health wise. I'm all about keeping people safe and that. So but you're also conflicted because you're also like, but I want to get back out there. Like that drive to get back out there and see people and play for new audiences is there. But I think at the moment we're just in the mindset of like, let's just do what's in our control, because that's so far out of our control. And what we're hoping is that the vaccination program will speed up, and that we can at least tour within Australia by the time we release the album, which is looking like late next year. It's a rough plan. So hopefully late next year we can get back on the road and promote this new album. So
yeah. No, it's like I don't even know myself like what would be the right approach to it and what the future would look like, because again, like I've got a lot of friends and relatives overseas, like in Europe and stuff, and when you see how that is compared to here, it's like it's vastly different. I suppose Perth is just so fortunate to be so isolated.
Yeah.
But I don't even know if it's possible to sort of like fully retain it when you have a continent like Europe or the States, where all the states are open, you can travel freely in between.
It's a little more complicated there than it is here.
It is, and like I'm a little bit in two minds about the vaccine as well, because everything mutates. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the other thing as well. Like,
so
it's like,
should you just let it run its course and fine?
That's just it. There is like they're saying that with the vaccines, there's going to have to be boosters for variants, the mutations and stuff. I think that we should it's hard because like in the back of your head, you're sort of like, man, those vaccines got rushed through pretty quickly, didn't they?
Yeah, they did, man. They did.
And now we're coming up with some sort of side effects with those blood clots and that. But that being said, like there's medication that people take on a daily basis which have a higher rate of blood clots. So people need to really do their research, and with the internet, people just go wild with these conspiracy theories and stuff. So it's like, calm down, everyone. Just keep level-headed.
Yeah.
And again, being in Australia, we have the luxury of being level-headed, because we've got time on our side, because it's not rampant in the community, because we've done the right thing. The people have done the right thing. For the most part.
Which makes the whole panic buying just completely insane.
Panic buying? The toilet paper. I don't get the toilet paper. Why? It's not even a stomach flu or anything like that. It's like,
it was initially started as a joke, and it kind of just took off from there.
Yeah.
And people just took it seriously and decided, we have to buy toilet paper because everyone else is buying toilet paper. So,
I mean, I get stocking up on like fuel, water, food.
But even then, it's like they've been told numerous times there's plenty to go around. There's no shortage, but they won't listen.
People just crazy, panic, fear.
I can understand if there was like in countries where they're completely devastated, people are going to be panicking and stuff. But in a country where there's like very little cases, it's like, why are you panic buying? It doesn't make sense.
Fear really messes people up, because you just, all logic goes out the window and you're just going on your base instincts, and
that's it.
People get selfish, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's selfish. It's a very selfish way of thinking. I think,
But like, just sit back, just order it online, and get delivered to your door the next day.
That's what I mean. It's like,
that's what we did, man. Like, it's like, again, really?
Buy. That's what we're clicking buy options now. We started doing that as well.
Like, why? Like, they're all like, oh no, there's like community cases. Quick, everybody rush to the shops.
Yeah.
Like, no, it's like the opposite. Stay the fuck at home and order your shit online, man.
Exactly, man.
Come on, man. This is 2021. You got a phone, you got a laptop, whatever, man. Online.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy, but I don't know. It kind of doesn't leave you with a lot of hope for the humanity, for the future and stuff. When you see that kind of like behavior.
Don't even get me started.
Yeah, the whole sheep mentality, man.
Yeah. But like, that's probably the minority, though. If you look at it, it's probably not the majority of people doing it. It just looks like it's like a lot of people doing it.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta sort of like, obviously the news is going to report on that, because
it's social media and all that stuff.
It's newsworthy, I guess, but. I try to temper it by saying, there are good people out there that do the right thing, who are looking out for each other and stuff. Because that's what I think. That if anything can be taken away from this pandemic is that we need to freaking take care of everyone.
Yeah.
Because it's not over till it's over for everyone. We need to take care of everyone. Like people in developing countries who don't have the healthcare systems or even just the infrastructure to deal with these sort of things. You know, like richer countries and more fortunate countries can certainly do more to help out. You know, I just think that's if we can take one thing away from this pandemic is that we need to really work together as the human race to overcome these obstacles and problems. You know, and you know if you can take care of the most least fortunate people in society, like in any place. If you can take care of those people, then the rest will be taken care of in between, I believe. So, yeah, that's what we should be doing, is looking out for each other.
Especially looking after the most vulnerable as well. That's kind of what we should be really focusing on, especially with this pandemic, because those are the ones that are going to be the most affected. So it makes sense to look after them the most.
That's why it's a bit like, you know, they had the, I think it was the Virgin CEO the other day come out and say, oh, look, people are going to just die, open the borders. And it's like... It's just like she's comparing it to the flu. Like people gonna die. It's like, yeah, people do die of the flu, but like
not as many though. That's
this is something different. And also, like, you know, there's we don't. It's not a case of let's just open up and see how it goes, because we've seen how it goes. Like when they open up overseas, you know, like the UK did it and then they had to lock down again, and India did it and now they're in trouble. I mean, you know, it's not a case of like, oh, we're just going to have to open up because we need to make profits, and so what if a few people die? You know, like, if that was someone in your family that died, I'm sure you'd have a different view. I mean, like, we can do both. We just need to be smart about it and think our way through it instead of just reacting. And people just want a soundbite these days. They want an easy fix, 5-second solution. Just say, here's a catchphrase and we can all go do that and it'll be easy. And it's not. Life's not easy like that, so...
Yeah. It's a little more complicated, and I think this will change things as well. As far as, I mean, my hope in this whole thing is that it changes the mentality of certain things that we've sort of taken for granted over time. You know, I mean, just from the physical aspect, I think the personal hygienes and stuff like that, I think we've definitely taken it for granted. And this has kind of put a spotlight on a lot of that stuff, you know, the sort of common things that we should be doing anyway and teaching our kids and all this kind of stuff. Yeah. And then beyond that, just sort of like how we sort of conduct ourselves and the politics and all that of the world, I think all of that's just going to change. Maybe not drastically, but it's certainly going to... It's not going to be the same as what it used to be.
I hope it changes. I have a fear that it won't, that they'll snap back to how it is, because that's the... you know, easiest path, you know what I mean? It's the path most traveled.
I think some things will be inevitably changed forever, like, you know, travel and things like that. That's never going to be the same again.
Yeah, probably.
There's going to be so much more restrictions and things like that. And then they're obviously talking about the whole vaccine passports and all that stuff, you know. So I think travel is going to be a huge thing that's going to change. And that's obviously going to affect a lot of musicians as well.
Yeah, I think it's, for a while, it's going to be even more expensive.
Yeah.
More expensive than it ever was.
The visas and all that stuff.
Yeah, visas and... just even flights, because the airline industry is reeling.
It is, but you would think they would try to reduce the cost in order to entice people to come back to flying again.
Yeah, but there's more risk. There's more risk, less planes up in the air. You know, they have to jack up the prices at some point to make a profit, otherwise it's not profitable. Yeah. So yeah.
Well, I'm surprised they even survived. Like, you're looking at...
Oh, they probably had some government bailouts or something, didn't they? Or...
I'm sure they would, but that's again like the States printed, or was it like 20% of all the money was printed last year or something like that, you know, like...
I know Virgin went under, didn't it? Was it Virgin?
Yeah, they got bought out by...
Yeah, they got bought out, so they went under. And
but there was like Tiger and Jetstone, all that, they all went under, as far as I know. Yeah. All the budget airlines. Virgin, I think Virgin have gone back to being, because they used to be a budget airline. I believe they've gone back to that now.
Right.
Which kind of makes sense, because, you know, because it's obviously cost cutting and stuff like that, you know. So, yeah, you know, it's... But I think national airlines, I think they've been sort of bailed out by the government, because it's like your national airline. You need someone to, you know, represent the travel industry.
You kind of do, but like it would just be like running with massive red numbers.
And you don't want to have a bunch of Tiger Airways flying around everywhere, because
no.
Have that as an option for those who want to, but like, you know, we want to have some safe, you know, travel.
Yeah, definitely.
So.
All right. Well, maybe we should quit the whole COVID stuff. It's so depressing. Hey, man.
If you've just joined us, this is a music-related show. I know it sounds like
the thing is that no matter what kind of a conversation you have with people, it always
it's so easy. It's so easy to talk about.
Conversation.
Well, it's because it's the main thing that's been going on the last 2 years.
But the thing is that
it affects everyone.
It affects the whole world.
It affects everyone, and also affects all of our lives, and especially as like it is kind of music-related because it is deeply affected the music industry.
The music industry is crippled, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely, yeah.
So it's hard to not discuss it because you have to try to now work a way around it now. You know? It's
yeah, I mean, because like now you basically have to plan for COVID. Like you got to plan for this now, like as well as best you can, you know. So
it's actually a really good point that you made. You know, in case you guys had bought tickets to go tour somewhere, and on arrival, like, sorry guys, you need like 14 days. Like that would completely blow everything.
That's your whole tour. Like if you're coming to Australia, you've got your tour done within 2 weeks. Yeah. If you're coming from overseas, definitely it's usually a week and a half max. If you're coming from overseas. Yeah. And to be told when you get to the first place that you have to stay there for 2 weeks, you know.
Thanks for coming.
And then if you get out and get to go to the next place, you might have to quarantine there as well in another state.
Yeah, it's just too risky.
It'd be like you'd get out of there and you'd go home and probably have to quarantine for another week or two, depending on where you're going. You know, so
and like the potential loss of income and stuff would be ridiculous.
Especially if you're a band that's already on a tight budget. I mean,
I mean, and if you've booked it yourself as well, because a lot of bands like our sort of size, it's sort of DIY, you know. So you're booking it yourself, so you're up for like the venue hire costs and all that sort of stuff. Even if you don't play it, some venues have this whole like, you know, you've got a certain amount of leeway before you have to pay for the venue hire. Yeah. Like, so you've got like a week in advance or 2 weeks to cancel. And if you cancel within that, you still got to pay the venue hire, which I get. But at the same time, if you have to cancel the whole tour and say half of those venues are like, well, you owe us money now because you didn't come, and you're like, but we don't have the money because we couldn't play.
And you got to take more time off work and stuff.
And then where are you going to get that money from? You've just lost your entire income for the whole tour, and you know, then you got to pay those costs on top of it. So, I
mean, touring is already as expensive as it is.
It's such a risky business, man.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I mean, we lost money on the last tour, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, bands hardly ever make any serious, unless you're at a certain level. You know, it's hard to make money on tour, but you know,
definitely.
But that's the bread and butter of every band these days is the touring.
Yeah, because you sell merch. Merch is where it's at.
Yeah,
that's where we make
merchandise, and also if you can draw in a decent crowd, then obviously you can start getting guarantees and all that kind of stuff. You know, but you've got to get there first, you know. So it's hard to do this while all this stuff is happening, you know, and travel restrictions and all that stuff. So.
I had a discussion with a friend of mine who's in another band, Brad from Septic Piggery.
Oh yeah.
A while back, and he asked me the question: do you think that bands that are sort of our size that are coming out around now have sort of missed their window? You know, when you get to a certain level as a band and then it's like, right, you got to take that next step and you got to really push it and go out and tour and stuff, where a lot of bands from Perth are at the moment. Do you think that window has just shut for us? Is it going to be closed for so long that we've missed our opportunity to get back out there? And like, not just for bands in Perth, but bands worldwide. He asked me that question. I thought it was really interesting. I was like, because you know what happens if a band's got some momentum and all of a sudden it stops dead.
I was gonna say if there has momentum behind it, then for sure there's a short window.
Yeah. So if that momentum was going and then you got to stop dead in your tracks, does that window open again, or is that it? And have you missed your opportunity, you know, to really capitalize in the momentum?
I mean, it's hard because personally, I reckon that most bands, especially in the last year, you know, where you didn't really have the opportunity to go gig as much, should shift the focus on actually trying to build a presence online.
Yeah, definitely.
Because most of the bands that pretty much all the bands that I've discovered in the last 6 to 12 months, including the ones I've had on the podcast, are people I've met online.
Yeah.
So and there's so many good bands, man.
Yeah.
So many good bands. Yeah. And the thing is, like, obviously, like we all had our, you know, down the rabbit hole on YouTube. Like sometimes something pops up recommended. I've never heard of these guys before. I'm gonna click on that.
Yeah.
Oh shit, that's another one. Or you see the same bands click up, come up as recommended all the time. That's because YouTube is smarter than you. Like YouTube know what you want to hear. Yeah. So when you finally click on them, you go like, dang, this is good, man.
Yeah, exactly.
And the thing is, if you get good at utilizing all these tools that you have available, such as YouTube, such as Facebook and Instagram, and all the other platforms that your fans are using anyway.
Yeah.
All your fans are sitting at home.
Yeah, that's true.
So I personally, I think that if you could make that sort of shift and say, look, fuck the gigs for a little bit. Yeah. Or as we said before, first of all, they're very difficult to actually get by to begin with because of COVID.
Yeah.
They're very expensive.
Yeah.
And they aren't likely to actually be profitable anyway.
Yeah.
So if you that's 3 massive reasons not to do them.
Yeah, definitely.
So if you then say, look, whatever that expense costs, or whatever that potential loss after a tour would be, why don't we just try and all just invest a little bit in trying to build something online?
Yeah.
No, I hear you. And I think some bands have adapted and done that pretty well.
Yeah.
And I think it's because it's happened to everyone all at the same time. Some people have dealt with it one way, some people with another way, and people are still working it out. There's no handbook for this. There's no, okay. Well,
no, there's not. Definitely
this has happened, and this is how we deal with it. Everyone's just going, well, I'm going to give this a shot and see if it works out. And but to what you said, actually, last year when we were in lockdown, and we were allowed to have, I think, like 2 people at your house or whatever it was, or 1 person I had Cam come over, and because we write on Sundays. We get together pretty much every Sunday to write, and we jam during the week or whatever. But we couldn't get together as the whole band because we couldn't get everyone together. I mean, some of the guys were a bit like, oh, I'm going to sort of take time out. We're like, yeah, cool, we get it. And but Cam came over one time, and we actually did a live Facebook stream where it was basically, we told our fans, like, you can get online, like, because everyone's at home. It was a Sunday night, 6 o'clock. I just decided on the day, I put a message up on our social media, said, get on our Facebook at 6 p.m. on Australian Western Standard Time and join us for a chat. And we just had cracked a few cans, had a few drinks and just spoke to the fans, literally. I went through, like, I had a sort of theme. The story was like the making of the last album. I thought, well, I'll go through it, and if anyone's got questions about anything else, they could because it was live on Facebook, they could ask questions and we can answer them live, and that was really cool. That went for like 2 hours or so, and that was really good fun, and got everyone engaged and people tuning in and out and stuff all night from all around the world and stuff. So
sick.
We got to so we did something like that, and I thought that was pretty cool. I would definitely like to do that again. Because it was just so much fun, and I love talking to the fans, and we got some really interesting questions and comments and stuff. We had some stupid fun as well. Like someone was like, "Go and take another swig." Like that's just so people started taking a swig, and they were like, "Oh, every time someone says this, take a swig."
Yeah,
so
yeah.
The drinking game online got a bit loose towards the end there, but it was fun. I mean, a bit hazy about how it finished, but yeah, it was good times, and like some bands do those live stream concerts as well.
Yeah, that's where it's all at. Like you said, like it's a sort of rethinking and sort of like doing.
You have to, man. You have to.
I mean, yeah, exactly.
You have to. You have to adapt. Otherwise, you're going to fall behind. Then you're definitely going to miss your shot.
Well, I had a consultation with a publicist friend of mine last year. He's one of the sort of bigwigs in Australia, and sort of made me rethink everything about how to actually engage social media and manage bands and stuff like that as well, because even on his end, from the publicist's end as well, and a lot of people in the music industry in general, not just because of the pandemic, but just the way that the music industry is these days, with how digital platforms have now just taken over everything and stuff like that. Everything is now marketed differently as well, and bands have to now engage differently and all this kind of stuff, and it's just so that was a very insightful thing to sort of do, and it's obviously rethink how we should be actually managing and marketing bands as well at the same time, and bands themselves should obviously be rethinking the way that they traditionally thought was the way to do things, because it's no longer the way to do it anymore. So,
yeah, I mean the music industry was changing like that anyway with social media. Like at the click of a finger, all of a sudden there's something new that you got to be on top of, otherwise you've missed the boat or whatever. And just the pandemic has just like supercharged that big time. Like
fast forwarded everything.
Where it's like, okay, so now you have to be right on it. I mean, we do okay social media wise. We could probably do better, but like there's always something new, something else we could be doing. So
it's so hard to get people's attention these days as well, because social media especially is so saturated, and there's so many bands out there now as well at the same time, and you're also competing with like comforts like Netflix and things that you're at home. That that's a big thing with like live music as well. It's hard to get people to come out to a gig because you're competing with everything that's at home now.
That's again that's when we were talking about earlier about convenience. You know, it's convenient just to push a button, turn the TV on, and put keep your feet up rather than having to get in your car, find parking, walk to the venue.
So what you need to do is just to engage people through that, and then encourage them to come out and go see them in real life situations where that's where the live music scene comes in. So, it's an interesting sort of situation that we're all in, I guess. Not just with the pandemic, just all the way that the music industry is working these days. No one really knows what to do anymore. That's the thing.
No,
because no one has the answer.
But I think it's very, like, it varies a lot depending on each band and the current situation. Like what genre you're playing, who's your niche audience and all that stuff. But I think you can always do more, and you should always do more than what you're doing, because the second you stop doing it, that's where you're going to fall off the wagon.
Exactly.
But all the live streams are great. Like, if you're a fan of the band, that would be the highlight of the week. You know what I mean? If you get to sit there and talk he picked my question. You know what I mean? Like, it would be wicked. Like, if you're a fan of the band and you get to sit and create a drinking game with the singer, man, that's it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So those sort of things are cool. The Q&As and connecting with the fans. One thing I'm sort of 50-50 on is live stream concerts. Where it's basically a band sort of on a stage or in a rehearsal room sort of situation, and there's no one else there, and they're just playing a set or whatever. And I've seen some that are cool, but without the live energy there and without the banter with the crowd, it's weird.
Yeah, it becomes a bit sort of clinical.
Yeah, it is. And it's, my girlfriend, she did the Korn one, and we were in lockdown a couple of weeks ago, and that was live that weekend. So luckily, it was her birthday, and we missed out on her birthday party because we had to go into lockdown 2 years in a row. 2 years in a row.
Oh,
and but we got to stay at home and watch the Korn live stream, which was interesting. I'm not the biggest Korn fan, but I thought it was okay. And but yeah, it was still weird because there's no banter between songs, because they're just playing one song to the next song to the next song.
Yeah.
And it's just weird. They sort of play and then they just stop and that's the end of it. And you're like, that was a bit weird. But
I've seen a couple as well. The last one I saw was Phil Anselmo paying tribute to Pantera. So he's basically, him and the Illegals band were busting out all these Pantera classics.
Yeah.
And he had some people in the crowd, but it wasn't really a crowd. It was just a lot of crew and things like that.
It's like the Entourage or something, the Hangouts. So
it was just weird. He would talk to them in the way he would talk to a normal audience, but it was nothing coming back.
Yeah.
It was just so bizarre. But what can you do?
And he's so intimidating. When he's on stage, man, he's this big bulky guy, man. It's Rottweiler, man.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's I saw what's the guy Rob Flynn from Machine Head has done a lot of stuff where he's just playing acoustics. That's cool, man, because it's very different. So it's a different format. It's just him playing, his acoustic guitar. And I think he might be doing a few Machine Head songs, but otherwise he's just doing covers.
Yeah.
And and talking to fans at the same time. So
yeah, that's kind of cool.
And then people can throw donations on PayPal and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But yeah, so obviously, so live stream is one thing, but in general, just overall content creation, overall brand awareness, keep pushing your stuff out there, keep getting on podcasts. Is such a but honestly, it's such a good way to build a fan base from a brand new perspective.
That's true.
Because a lot of I'm speaking for myself, but I know a lot of other people feel the same way. But if you listen to a conversation with a band you don't know, and you get some insights and you resonate with what that person or that band has to say, you can actually like the band without even knowing the music.
Yeah. That's true, you can make that connection 100%. And then you'll take the time to actually go check out the music and maybe have a deeper connection with.
You'll have a much deeper connection because you're already saying, "Fuck, these are wicked guys. I almost don't care what kind of music they're playing. I must check it out."
That's true. Actually what makes fans a much bigger fan of a particular band. It's
100%.
About the music. It's about the actual. Once you get to know the band, that changes your sort of appreciation for the band, because it's no longer about I like a couple of songs here and there. It's you like the band. For being the band.
Yeah, it's sort of on board. They're part of the team. I mean, we've always strived to do that.
These guys have got that already. They've it's ATF crew.
ATF crew.
Yeah, and the branding is already there. So when I came on board a couple of years ago, we already had something to work with.
Yeah, we could.
So, they already knew, or Brendan especially already knew that branding was a very important thing and having that connection with the fans, the engagement and stuff like that, So having all these little things in place certainly is a huge thing to have.
I got the idea.
I
got the idea from the New York hardcore scene, like the late 80s, early 90s and stuff. Agnostic Front, Sick of It All, Madball, and they got their own little crews and stuff, and like that camaraderie. And I just thought that's the way to go. You want the fans to be part of your team. You want them to be on your side, and I believe we've got that. Like we got, I reckon the best fans hands down. Like
they got some loyal
really
fans,
dedicated,
and they go
really
pretty
loyal.
nuts in the mosh pit and all that stuff,
And they get really into it. They know they know everything. I have conversations with fans about lyrics. That always spins me out when they come up and they want to know something about this and that. And I was like, wow. That's really cool.
I mean, and also just that review from that media publication, AM Amplify, I think they were called.
Oh, yeah.
And they did a review of their set at Slayfest a couple of months ago. And I wasn't the only one that said the same thing, but it was interesting to see that in the review, and quite a few other reviews, that they all noticed that in the actual crowd, they all noticed that there was a lot of people wearing All This Filth t-shirts and merchandise and stuff like that. And yet they weren't even the headliner. They weren't even the main act. So they already had that engagement already. People were already buying their merch and stuff like that. And yet hardly any of the bands, you didn't see much of their merchandise at all. There's nothing against all the other bands.
No disrespect,
They're fantastic bands. And that's what drew the crowd there in the first place. But at the same time, these guys had All This Filth really literally littered all over the crowd, which was amazing. I mean, I said the same thing when I walked in. I went, what's with all the ATF shirts everywhere?
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
So that's because they're engaged and they're connected with their fans. They have their branding already there.
But that's also because you guys are good at treating it as a business.
Oh, 100%. Well,
that you're like you're good at making money on your product.
Yeah, I mean, you do have to treat it as a business. I mean, financials a bit, we don't do things for money per se.
But no, trust me, we're not making that much money. I'm not.
But
I mean, it's like
but you aren't
giving as a business.
Yeah. But you're not giving the shirts away either at a loss.
No.
So yeah,
It costs money, obviously.
Yeah.
But I think the fans are more likely to sort of part way with their cash because they feel like they're part of something.
Yeah.
Rather than like, and they are supporting us. And I remember when the lockdowns did happen, back to COVID, but when the lockdowns first happened, we sold a lot of stuff online. Like a lot of people were like, well, I can't go see a band. There's no gigs happening. So they were spending more money on merchandise. We were selling a lot of shirts, like interstate, overseas even. So that was cool. But yeah, like our fans, I've always said it, they're the best easily best in Perth. Probably best in Australia. I don't know. It's hard, apples and oranges, but I'll stand by them because they go hard for us and they really get engaged and they get involved and at every level they want to know everything. So I can't thank them enough. So if anyone's listening, cheers, guys.
Yeah, I think it's exactly what you said. The big reason why that is not just because of the music. It's everything else that the band already has.
Like the more of those Q&A live streams you do, like the more you're gonna feel connected to it. Like you're gonna feel that relationship. You're actually a part of like the inner circle, or you understand what you're saying because you're talking to them.
Yeah.
Not necessarily directly, but you're speaking their language.
Oh, exactly.
You know what I mean?
I think it's interesting because our last album really resonated with a lot of people because, I mean, quite frankly, Misery Season, when we wrote that and recorded it, like, pretty much everyone in the band was going through a hard time. Like, we had, like, Cam was, separated, getting divorced. I was just in a horrible mental state, same with Mark, and we all got our own struggles, so we put all of that into the music and into the lyrics. And then, like, my theory was, because I have this theory called Misery Season, which is what the last album was about, which is roughly that, like going through misery and mental health struggles can be sort of like a season. So it sort of comes and goes. And like, I sort of put it in there and I thought to myself, if I can put all of this sort of misery and pain and just put it onto tape, put it onto a CD, put it onto, whatever, put it out there and put the music out there. And like, I thought all of that suffering will be worth it if someone can connect with it and someone gets something positive out of it, trying to get a lot of positivity out of all the negativity.
Yeah.
And that resonated really well. And then when we were doing those Q&As and stuff, people were coming up to me and asking, sending messages and asking about that sort of stuff. What's this song about? What's that about? And it's interesting. And even at gigs, people hit me up at the merch stand because I still work the merch stand most of the time. And they want to, say that, like, not to brag or anything, but I've had a lot of people come up to me say like, your music is the reason I'm still alive, and that hits me like a 10-ton hammer. It's like,
oh fuck yeah,
huge. Like it's not, like it happens often enough. Like, pretty much once every gig or every second gig or whatever, someone will say that, which is, it's heavy at the same time. Man, it's really heavy, but like I'm glad, because that's exactly what I set out to do. And makes it all sort of worthwhile, you know what I mean? Even just to help one person, but to know that I've helped multiple people, or the music's helping people get through their day, or, they're having a shit day and they can put that on and they can feel they can relate to it and go, I feel that too. It's not just me. I'm not alone. That's heavy. That's great, But that's
the power of music, man. Yeah. Music is so powerful. Yeah. It's much more powerful than most people give it credit for.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think a lot of casual fans don't really see it. That's why they're only casual fans, because they just don't seem. It doesn't seem to connect with them in ways. It's one of those weird things where I think you either you connect with it or you don't. It's one of those things that I don't know. It's a strange thing. Music's a very, very weird thing. It sort of resonates with people differently as well.
It's visceral as well. Sometimes you just feel it within the music without even thinking about it. You just feel it, and it makes you move. It makes you feel something without even. It's like a subconscious thing. But yeah, it's great. I think also heavy music, or like metal and hardcore and that sort of stuff, has sort of less casual fans, if you get me. Like the fans that are in those genres are dedicated.
I think if you're sort of looking for something a bit more deeper, then that's when you start getting into like the metal stuff or the alternative or whatever.
Yeah.
So because you find most casual fans are just like the very mainstream sort of radio friendly type stuff, which is I think it's an interesting look at human beings as well at the same time,
It is.
I always feel like this is not a judgment on people, of course, but it's like you can almost sort of predict what sort of a personality someone has based on their taste of music. A little bit,
Almost, yeah.
If you're listening to too much of the Justin Bieber stuff, you're probably very superficial, eh?
Yeah, well, some people just want to bop along to like, radio tunes, and they don't really care. They're not out there buying albums or going to concerts.
No, exactly. I was about to say, that's cool, man.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine.
It's the same as, there's room for everybody.
Yeah, it's
race, religion, politics, whatever. You can listen to anything.
It's like some people like Marvel movies, and some people want some
100%.
Do you know what I mean?
Yep, absolutely.
So there's nothing wrong with either.
No.
Go to the cinema for both and support both.
Well, Justin Bieber's a little questionable though.
Yeah,
it's not my jam, but not my jam, but good on him.
Yeah. But yeah, like I think coming back to lyrics and songs as something to relate to, like if you get really good at telling stories, and especially like if fans feel like they're resonating with songs, if you get really good at maybe not necessarily explaining what the song is about, but say for instance, a good example, if you put out a lyric video, like people have to kind of see the lyrics as they're going through the video, so that explains the story, or at least it gives you the opportunity to read the story. Because I think a lot of people, maybe especially in like really heavy metal, like same as yours, where there's a lot of screaming, it can be difficult to maybe sometimes actually hear what you are singing. But the second you read the lyrics, they don't lie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it becomes a lot easier to understand fully what it is that the song is about. And if that is something, that hits home, so if it is something about, mental health, which is something that affects most people in to a certain degree anyway.
Yeah.
Then it can be a massive, it can be like therapy. Yeah. Like it can literally. There's another guy. He was feeling the same way, man.
Exactly.
Oh, here's another song. Wow, you can have that really, really deep connection.
Exactly.
And then at the same time, like if you're playing a gig, like as you said, someone come up to you and said, "Man, thank you so much, man. Your music really helped me out, and because I really resonated with it, man." It becomes it's stronger than so many other things you've experienced in life, man.
Definitely, it's crazy. It's kind of cool, like, because it's not just at gigs. I get people messaging the band page or messaging me personally. And I tell you what I do. I actually take screenshots of those to, like, so I can, like, keep them on my phone. So if I'm feeling low, I can, like, go have a look at that. And it helps me out as well. So it's like a cyclical thing. It's not just, I'm not just getting something, like, I'm not just giving, I'm getting something from it as well. So it's sort of, it's good. That's the connection for me, is it's not just one way. It's not, here's us, absorb it. I'm absorbing them as much as they're absorbing us. So, it's good.
Big responsibility.
Yeah, and that, which is funny because I've been saying that about where we've started recording the new album. Like with literally in the last week or two, last 2 weeks, we were in the studio, recording the first 5 songs for the new album, and this is the first album. Like this is our 3rd album, and it's our 4th release overall. And this is the first time I've actually felt a little bit of pressure, like because I've always like. We've released an album and I've gone, well, that was good, but I know we can do better. I know we can definitely top that. But this time I'm like, man, a lot of people really connected with that last album. I'm like, shit.
The last album sounds sick, man. Like I went through it quite a bit over the last week, man. Like the production is phenomenal, man. And again, like the strong songs, man.
Yeah, thanks. So I was proud. Like I was really proud of this one. That Misery Season was a sort of. Was the benchmark once we released it, because when you're in it you don't know that it's going to be awesome. Do you know what I mean? You're just doing your best, and you sort of like it's a whole forest, you can't see the forest through the trees.
Yeah.
It's so involved with every micro aspect of like this part, that part, you can't see it, and it's only after you release it that you sort of can sit back and like really appreciate it for what it is. And so yeah, it was about, it was like that for me. It was like 18 months later I was like, actually I'm pretty proud of this one. Well, it wasn't probably 18 months, but and then luckily the fans liked it, and it's done really well. And so this time around it's sort of like, ooh, do we top that? How do we top that? And how do you? Because it's sort of like, because art's so subjective, so it's like we might not make a better or worse album, it'll just be different. You know what I mean? Like it's like 10 different shades of different, and one's not better than the other, but and then it's just up to the individual to be like, well, I like this one better, I like that one better, and hopefully people will get something out of this album as much as they got from the last album, maybe something different, who knows, see how it turns out. So
I mean, at the end of the day, it has to be something that you guys can vouch for. So as long as it's something you guys are happy with.
100%.
Because like I reckon the second you start to sort of either copy yourself deliberately to try and please the fans, this is what I think the fans would like. I said, but you're the one that has to deliver it.
No, that's just
like you have to. You have to stay true to yourself. I reckon.
Definitely, 100%. I can honestly say so far in this process that's not even been a thought. Like the thought, like we got to do something that sounds like the last album hasn't even, like I'm almost more worried that like we've done something too different from the last album. Do you know what I mean? Like we've just started writing. It's not like a conscious thought. Like there'll be at some point I'll get a theme and I'll be like, all right, we're heading in this general direction. But yeah, so far like it's definitely different from the last album. I can't say how it's different, but it's different. You've heard some of it.
Yeah, it's good though.
Yeah,
I like it. So.
It's more aggressive.
It's definitely more aggressive, but it sounds like All This Filth. If everyone kind of knows what they sound like, it sounds like them, but it is a little different, but it's not in a bad way at all.
Yeah.
But like we'll just have to give it some time, I guess.
Yeah, we'll see how it turns out. We haven't even finished writing the whole album yet. We sort of record in chunks where we really focus on like 4 or 5 songs, and then we go record those and be like, right, put them to one side and go work on the next batch. Yeah, we're always working on songs anyway, so yeah, it's an interesting process, and it's been okay so far. It's going pretty well. Yeah.
Well, I was about to say, like, even if some of the songs sound a bit like the old album, that's cool too. As long as that's what that song should sound like to you guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna sound like All This Filth because we're All This Filth, and that's what we do. But yeah, there hasn't been a conscious thought of we need to make it sound like the last album. There hasn't been a conscious thought. Good. At all. So it's been like, this is the song. It's more, I don't know, some people say, Rob Flynn, you mentioned him from Machine Head, said that sometimes you're just sort of the conduit, you're just sort of plucking the music from there, and it's just about inspiration whether it comes to you or not. And sometimes you want to make a song go in one direction, but that's not what the song wants to do. Do you know what I mean? The song wants to, it's almost like it's its own entity. The song comes in, you sort of catch the inspiration and you just roll with it, and sometimes it just rolls over the top of you, and it does what it's going to do, and you're like, I wanted to do this, but then it went and did that. Sometimes you're the one that's steering it, sometimes it just does its own thing, and that's interesting to me. I like both the approach, because it's keeps it fresh, keeps it interesting, because sometimes you come up with something that you're like, that was nowhere near what I thought it was going to sound like.
Yeah.
But it's cool, and sometimes you're like, that's exactly what I was trying to do. So,
but I think sometimes people, and I'm talking about fans here, forget that sometimes you as a band or you as an artist go through different stages in life, and that means that you might start listening to different music. You might start getting influenced by other stuff in your life and your lifestyle. Yeah. And that'll come through in your music if you're the songwriter. Definitely. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like you see quite a few bands out there who's like really experimenting on a new album, and some fans absolutely lose it. Like, why do you do that, man? You're a sellout. No, that's just like Linkin Park is a great example, for instance. Just one. U2 has done it as well. Has done a lot of experiments during their career, and sometimes they just get lynched by the fans. Black Album, Metallica, for instance. Again, another thing, but it's up to, as long as it's something you're cool with, man. Again, you gotta do it, man.
Well, you can't stagnate either. I mean, some bands just doing the same thing over and over again, you just get stale.
Exactly.
But like, because sometimes like you can experiment and that album will take off, like the Black Album or like Sepultura with Roots, for example.
Another good example.
Massive experiment, but it went huge. It worked out well. Other times you can experiment and the fans just can it. Like, The Haunted, when they did what was that album, The Deadeye, or The Unseen as well, and it's like they're like, because The Haunted, if you know them, they're
big fan,
really thrashy, really aggressive, and then they've got some albums which are a bit more experimental, and some fans hate it, some fans don't. But I think Peter Dolving said it best when he was still in The Haunted, and he said, like, well, we've done this album now, and if you don't like it, that's fine. The other albums are still there. They're not going anywhere. We're not holding a gun to your head and saying you have to listen to this. Yeah. We'd like it if you got on board, but if you don't, you can still go listen to our old albums. They're not going to change. That's how we sounded then. This is how we sound now, and who knows how we'll sound in the future. I think that's a good way to sort of look at it, So
Strengthening Numbers, in my opinion, was one of the best albums that came out that year.
Strength in Numbers is great, man, with Marco Arroback on vocals, because I originally got into The Haunted when they did One Kill Wonder.
Oh, that's
I really loved it, man. I've never seen
album as well,
Rage. Man. I saw the video clip for DOA.
Yeah, Dead on Arrival.
I was like, so I went to the CD store like the next day, sort of thing, and was like, I'm going to buy that.
That was like early 2000s or something.
Yeah. And I
got into ages ago.
And then I went back through the back catalogue, and I liked that sort of stuff as well. And, and I still listen to them now. And, the last couple have been really good as well. So, in my opinion. But, they're a solid band. So, but really different albums, You got Versus, which is different to, The Deadeye, which is different to Revolver, which is different to One Kill Wonder, and, Strength in Numbers and Exit Wounds. So, great albums,
I think bands need to experiment a little bit after a certain amount of time, once you've established yourself and all that kind of thing. And because obviously these guys are not just doing it for the fans, as far as putting out some great music, but there's an integrity there that they kind of need to upheld for themselves. They have to do it for themselves. It's a selfish way of thinking, but I think that's the way to to do it as a musician.
I think, me personally, I've got the fans in mind, but I'm not writing to please them and for them, and I'm not thinking is this what the fans are gonna like? I'm more like, geez, I hope they like it, and I hope I don't let them down. I don't want to let anyone down, obviously, but you just got to do what comes natural at the time. Because I think Vinnie Paul said it, albums are like a snapshot in time. That's how you sounded at that time.
Yep.
So that's
100%.
You're trying to be authentic to how you are at that time. So, when we did that live stream, someone asked me the question, with COVID being around, are there going to be any songs about COVID? And I was like, well, I can't really answer that now. I haven't really started writing. I said, but it's sort of going to be in the background, I guess, because it's sort of all consuming at the moment. But so far, there hasn't been anything specifically about COVID.
Not about the actual virus itself, but certainly the repercussions of what's happened, the isolation and the mental sort of health thing and politics. That's certainly come out of it.
There has been there's a bit more global issues on this album.
Sort of like the divide it has created throughout the world.
But also just stuff back in the first album I was talking about stuff like climate change and corporate greed and all that sort of stuff, and that's sort of coming around again now, because it's still happening, do you know what I mean? And it's affecting people in different ways, and the pandemic has definitely sort of drawn a light to more of that, because you know it's sort of supercharged a lot of things, you know. We'll see how it all comes out, but you know, there's a bit of this on it, a bit of that. We'll have to wait and see how it comes out, you know.
Yeah, wicked, man. So that's due, you said, about late next year? Or?
Yeah. Well, we were talking about it like last week. We were actually in the studio, and I was talking to Andrew, and we were sort of looking at timelines, and he's like, realistically, probably late next year, because I wanted it to be early next year. Like, I was looking for March, April.
Yeah.
But if we can get the whole thing recorded, mixed and mastered, probably by the end of this year, November, December, that's sort of the goal. You know, he's got a point. We want to sort of really promote it well and do a good lead up, because last time around things were really rushed. Like, not rushed, like the album was sort of recorded, mixed and mastered by the December of 2018, but we weren't working with Andrew at that stage, and so I was doing all the business myself, and which I had done for like the previous 10-11 years of the band, because 2018 was 10 years of All This Filth. So 2018, so we missed that. We literally missed that anniversary because we were too busy and just in a horrible mental state.
Right.
And but we were finishing the album, and then like I was like, okay, cool, it's done, and then was like, I booked the show for the launch, and like was like gonna do it, and then I was like, I should bring someone on board for this because I'm really struggling, like, because it was just getting so hectic, so busy. And then Andrew came on board, and we basically just threw him in the deep end. We're like, so the album comes out March 29th, and then like we started working with him in like January or something.
Like that,
and we were just like, so yeah, it's coming out March 29th. It was like knock yourself out. Good luck with that. And like, we worked hard and we did the best we could, and it went well, but like, we really only had 3 months to promote. We did the best we could in those 3 months, so we did all right.
It was all right, but I mean, the time was against our side, you know, so it didn't get promoted in the way that it should have.
Okay.
It wasn't released the way it should have. It wasn't marketed the way it should have.
Yeah,
but you know, it is what it is, and we had already things in place at the time, so we had a deadline and all this kind of stuff.
That was the problem. We set the deadlines too early.
Yeah.
So
couldn't you change it if, like, obviously if there's no label pushing anything? It's just
there probably was a stage where we could have changed it, but like, you know, when you're in the, you know, you're sort of in the storm. It's sort of things coming at you, and you're like, we set the date, and then it was announced. Next thing you know, it's announced. And once it's announced, you're like, oh, you know, you don't want to push it back.
Yeah, that was the thing.
The album was done as well, so it was like we could release it, and we had it, but it was just the promotion and the marketing we needed more time for. But
right,
you know.
So what are you planning on? So what did you learn from that process in regards to what you're going to do different?
Oh, time. We're going to have lots of time.
Yeah, okay.
Time. Yeah, definitely. I mean, literally, everything was last minute, like to the point where on the day of release, the band was rocking up, getting all the gear ready for the show, the launch show, and I was actually at the CD place picking up the CDs on the day of release. Picking the whole lot up.
Right.
The day before, I was like, I messaged the people doing the CDs, and I was like, so how are we looking? Because like I'd booked it weeks in advance, but obviously they were busy and some stuff had gone wrong, and then they were like, so we might not be able to get you the order by tomorrow. And I was like, see, that's a problem because we're launching the album tomorrow. We kind of need the CDs, you know, at the show to sell. And they were like, well, we might be able to get you some. And like on the day, like literally the day of the gig, I'm stressing, going, oh God, what's going to happen? And we organized it, and like we sent Andrew to go pick up and like just grab as many as he could, because I said, well, we're not going to sell every CD printed, so we're like, cool, just grab as many as you can. And luckily they actually pulled it out, and they got all of them done. But we didn't know that. Like, I didn't know that. I was at the venue setting up, getting ready to sell merch, and like just setting up everything, and Andrew comes in with the boxes, and I was like, oh, thank fuck for that, you know.
Nice.
Last minute. Yeah, pre-orders are ready to send out as well.
Yeah, we had pre-orders, and we
was like, you know, we didn't want to delay that too much, obviously, you know, because people are waiting for their CDs and stuff.
So. Yeah, and then
But it was just time. It's just that we had to basically, normally when you're doing a release for an album, you want, 4 or 5 months to plan it all out and stuff. And we basically constricted within like 2.5 months. So releasing the singles and all this kind of stuff, it was crazy.
But to release singles, we did it, and it was kind of fun because we had to do we did a lot of radio interviews and just crazy shit in between that.
A lot of press, as much press that we could fit in anyway, But it was a crazy time, but we managed to get there in the end. But this time around, it's like we've got a much bigger plan ahead for them and a proper publicity campaign and all this kind of stuff. We haven't started doing that yet, but once the recording's out of the way, then we'll start looking at all that stuff. But we already got things in our mind about as to how to, talking about navigating the music industry now, especially in the middle of a pandemic, and also with the way the industry works these days. Trying to make that work in as much and as best a way possible. I'm trying to contact as many people as I can, get the best advice that I can, all this kind of stuff, and then with all the things that I've known and the experiences everyone's had and stuff like that, just putting it all together and seeing how we can make this the best possible release as possible. We want to push this one really, really hard, but the good thing is that we've got time on our hands, so we can actually just fine tune everything to the point where we're going to really hone down on just it doesn't mean it's going to be a guaranteed success, because nothing is ever
of course,
but if you can make the best opportunities as much as possible for yourselves, that's going to give you at least an advantage.
It's going to give you a much better shot at it.
Exactly.
And again, at the end of the day, you can blame yourself for whether it goes good or bad. Because you're the one that put in the effort.
Well, at the end of the day, all you can do is the best you can with what you've got. So that's what we want to do with the resources we have available. Do the best we can.
Yeah.
And if you've done that, then in your heart and in your head that you've done the best you can, then that's all you can do.
And then you're going to be content about it as well.
Exactly.
Like sweet,
doesn't matter how
done.
It does.
On to the next one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
We did the best we could. The other thing is hopefully by then, in the back of my mind, I was a little bit disappointed, thinking, oh man, we're gonna have to sit on this album for a year. But at the same time, it could work out really well, because I'm hoping that borders will be a bit more open and we might be able to tour by the time.
It'll kind of work out.
Yeah, so we can release the album and then tour straight away,
Well, you're probably going to release something. You're probably going to drop a single or two before the album anyway.
Oh,
yeah. Next year, there'll be singles, there'll be video clips. It's not going to be static silence and then by the way, here's an album. It's going to be people already know we
cricket.
But that is so common though, especially in music, in the local scene. It's very common for bands to just go, here's an album that we've been working on for the last 6 months, so we're putting it out.
It does happen,
right? There's no plan, no thinking behind it, I understand. Either they don't have the money resourcing, or they just don't have the know-how to realize that.
Well, maybe they're just trying to do what Taylor Swift or Beyonce do. They drop
but
secret albums.
They can get away with it because they're high-profile people,
and they have budgets that no one can dream of.
Exactly. So we don't have that advantage, obviously. So you got to market it pretty well and really plan it out, strategize it, everything. We're going to literally strategize every little part of it, every little inner workings of it, just to maximize every potential that's going to come out of it, hopefully. And having all the right people on board as well, like publicists, and hopefully if we can get them signed to a label or whatever, booking agents and all that.
That's the other thing. We're going to shop it around to some labels as well.
So having other people involved as well, and having everyone just focus on whatever their strength is, whatever their thing is.
Building a good team, Yeah,
exactly.
I was building a group of partners is inevitable, because you're adding more man hours to your team, and you're adding you get people to fill in the gaps that you aren't necessarily very good at yourself.
Exactly.
Or you are good at it, but you just don't have the damn time.
Exactly.
You spread yourself too thin, trying to do too many things, which is what I was doing for all those years, which was fine when you're just getting off the ground, but things started getting pretty hectic. I was running the merch myself and doing all the business, all the bookings and everything. It just started getting just a bit much,
having people do that stuff for you, it's we all have our strengths and weaknesses as well.
Absolutely.
You can work at your weaknesses, which is what I try to do all the time. If there's something that I'm not very good at, I will try my best to try and figure out how to do that. And sometimes it doesn't work out because you just don't have what it takes to do that. So you try and get someone else to publicity is one of my weaknesses in the industry, because there's a certain knack for it that some people just have, you know, that
the connections and that as well.
So having someone do that stuff for the band is like going to be, I think, a huge thing for the band as well.
Yeah.
You know? So again, it doesn't guarantee anything, but it's got to give them the best opportunity to success.
It's like I keep saying to the guys, I don't want to die wondering. You know what I mean? I want to give it everything you've got.
Yeah.
At least you can be like, well, we gave it our best, you know.
Exactly.
But it's also one of the things, like, is it a skill that you need over and over and over again? Like for instance, being consistent on social media is a skill that you just need to know. You just need to master that. So that's something that would be beneficial for someone in the band to pick up on, whether that's watching a lot of YouTube courses, tutorials, or take a course or something. But say, for instance, like to be a publicist, if that's something you only need when you're really releasing an album, or if you're building a website or like a landing page or something like that, that's something you might not need to know because you only need to do it every so often. Then you're much better off paying someone who's really good at doing that and literally saying, look, cool, all right, I don't need to know to do that, but this guy can do it for X amount of money. It would take me, in time and money, it would take me way longer. Way
more time. And
it would look shit.
and it won't look anywhere. That's exactly it. You know, get someone who knows what they're doing. You know, to so yeah, you definitely want to build a good team.
But the thing is as well, getting someone that knows what they're doing at the same time in a world where it seems like no one really knows what they're doing. Do you know what I mean? We do live in a world where it's sort of like, especially in the music industry, it's like we're all kind of just learning as we go along because it's a whole new frontier now. You know, it's far different to what it was 20 or 30 years ago, where if you were to have all these things in place, chances are you were almost not guaranteed, but you were certain that you're going to go in that direction. You know, whereas now it's like there's so many different avenues you could go into. That's going to be that success point. But which road to go down to? You know, it's a hard one to figure out.
But I think a lot of bands or a lot of businesses, and I'm guilty of that myself as well. I think they try and take on too many roles themselves, like too many things that we need to do this, we need to do that, and you end up not doing any of it, or
not doing any of it well.
Exactly.
Exactly, yeah.
So, but I think, by the time if you understand where you're at, and you say, look, I'm here, but I'm not comfortable being here. I want to be up here. Then you've got to change whatever you're doing here, because whatever you're doing here won't get you up there. But for you to get from A to B again, or from A to D, like you need to get allies. So and sometimes that comes with a cost, because same as I use the analogy of saying it's the same as if you're renovating your house. Like there's so much you can learn to do yourself. Like you can paint the walls. That's fine. It might not look as good as if a painter did it. But I would never try and lay floors, for instance. Like, so I would pay someone else to come in and do that, or put in a brand new kitchen. You know,
exactly.
Probably gonna get someone else to do that. But that means I would need to pay someone else to do it, which means again, all right, it's an expense I'm happy to accept, because it's gonna look good. It's gonna be by pro. It's gonna be, and I can go and do something else. So for most bands, obviously, it's they would focus on writing the music and recording and do the live stream Q&As and stuff, like something that's cool, something that adds value to you. But all the boring bits, like the marketing, the branding, the publicist and stuff like that. It's like. Get someone who's good at it and pay them.
But in the beginning, like, you sort of have to learn to do that yourself.
You have to learn the basics, 100%. 100%.
But, yeah, that's why I said, like, I got to a point, sort of like King Louie in Jungle Book, man. I reached the top and had to stop. I got to that point, you know what I mean? Like, where I was like, yeah, I can do this myself, and I'm okay at certain things, but I just don't have the time. And, like, I'd rather be working on songs and stuff. That's what I want to be doing. Instead of sitting there sending mass emails out and doing all that sort of stuff, which is, just tedious work. So
it is, but it needs to be done though.
No, exactly.
If you want to build it, it's same as any business. If you want to build it, you gotta keep doing those bits.
Exactly.
As well.
So I did it for a while, then got Andrew on board. Now we sort of just share the load. Like, we sort of plan, talk about what we're gonna do, and then he goes and does some of it. I go do some of it. So works out better that way. So.
Once we have like other people involved in the team as we go along as well, that's going to be just another thing that we can go, well, this person's doing this, and I mean, it's a team effort really. It's not like a one sort of man game where one person's just doing everything and that's it. It's like it's a team effort. It's just how it works. It's a band.
Absolutely, but it's the same. And if you are looking at a business, like everybody starts small, but you don't start out to be small. So for you to grow, you need to get more employees. Like you need to and you need to delegate eventually. So again, if there's something you don't, I don't want to do this, I'm not good at it. Instead of me learning it, I'm gonna get someone in my team, an employee, if you like, and I'm gonna get him to facilitate that responsibility.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of like the recording as well, because like I know how to record. Like I'm a qualified studio engineer, but like there's people out there better at it than I am.
It usually always is, yeah.
Which is why we're working with Tristan at Sumo Studios, So, I could do that, but like, man, I don't need the stress. I want to focus on like doing my vocal takes and like writing the songs and stuff. I don't want to have to be like, all right, I need to set the studio up. I need to, record everything, got to mix it and master it myself. It's just, it's a lot, So,
it is, yeah.
Yeah.
But that again, but at the same note, like you see so many bands that go in and easily spend 10, 15, sometimes more $1,000 on recording an album, and then as you mentioned earlier as well, we're just gonna put it out on Monday. Like it's done now. It's like
that's just
like why? Like you spend all this money, you like surely you'd have something allocated for marketing or for. Yeah. Because
if you're willing to spend $10,000 on an album, then you should be willing to spend a couple of thousand on like marketing, promotion.
You should probably have the same budget, to be honest. You should probably have the same budget for marketing.
Yeah,
if you can, for sure.
Yeah, because but I think quite a few bands are just so keen to just get it out to the world.
Yeah. But I think because it's social media and it seems like I've got access to this social media, so I can do it myself.
Yeah.
But they have no clue as to how to do it properly. It's like they can put it up there. Yeah, it's fine, but like, is people engaged with it? Looking at it, reading it, clicking on it, Like, so how many times do you see stuff that gets posted up, but there's like very little engagement? It's because no one's really enticed to check whatever that is out, So bands just don't. I don't know. It depends on how serious they are about their career, I guess.
Absolutely. But again, like to that, even though you are serious, like I think it all comes down to knowledge as well. Like what do you know, and I suppose also like how bad do you want it?
Yeah.
Because I think there's a lot of bands out there who wants it really bad, but again, they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I think that's a very common trait for many people. It's the same as like we all want to lose 10 kilos, but a lot of people you gotta kind of stop eating. you gotta stop drinking beers and eating pizza all day. You know what I mean? Yeah. But it's one of the, like you only like you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And if you do want to escalate it, like you need more knowledge, or you need to ally yourself with people that have that knowledge that you lack.
Yeah, I think it's a big thing, not just to have the right people on board, but also just do some of the work yourself as far as like your own research and stuff as well.
Absolutely.
Like find out why this works, why it works this way, and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
But a lot of people just sort of just don't really want to take the time to really do that, I do that all the time, constantly. I'm always reading on just stuff all the time.
Yeah.
I just like lose so many hours just reading on stuff that is involved in the music industry and stuff like that. I'm just constantly reading and watching other people do stuff. Constantly.
Yeah, you should do half an hour to an hour every day.
Oh, I do.
Every day.
Hours. I just lose hours, especially late at night when I'm supposed to be sleeping, and I'm just like sitting there at 1 a.m. watching YouTube because of something that I've just picked up on earlier in the day. I just haven't time to get around to it. So.
And that's a really healthy thing, because again, it keeps you it keeps your mind relevant, or not relevant, but it keeps you engaged.
Yeah.
And you're in that learning curve.
Yeah.
And it's so easy for so many people to just, as we spoke about earlier, just go home, just kick your legs up, turn the TV on, and you watch, you binge watch something on Netflix.
Yeah. Exactly,
but really, if you replace that with binge watch something on YouTube, man, boom, completely different situation.
True, yeah.
Completely different. But that's again, how bad do you want it?
Yeah, exactly.
How bad do you want it? Oh, I want to be this and that. Then stop watching fucking Netflix, man.
Yeah, a lot of people talk about how bad they want it, but they don't actually do anything about it. No. You got to be about it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, you got to walk the walk.
You got to live the life as well.
It is a lifestyle.
That's exactly what I do. When I just live and breathe music. 24/7.
And the sacrifice,
So-
you got to be willing to sacrifice. There's a lot of time. Like, I mean, we hardly ever see our partners. You know, the guys in bed.
Maybe we should get them on the chat next day.
I do spend a lot of time at home, but I'm always in my office though. That's but there's an advantage to that. Like working from home, there is an advantage to that. You know, you get to spend time with your family while not really spending time with your family. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know? So,
but it's still the fact you're still present. Like you should still go out. Like I'm the same. I can still go out and hug my kids and go out and you can do this. Go out and play Uno every night. I love playing Uno with my older son and stuff like that. So
get back into that. I love that game. That's just my son had to play that.
Draw 4.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The only problem about it is like by the time they start winning more than you do, it's like, and they're like, he's a really, it's like, but yeah, like it's all about like how much do you want it, and what's the consequence of you not getting it? Like that's it. You're gonna stay where you are.
Yeah.
Yep.
So and at the end of the day, no matter what you do in life, you can only blame yourself for what you're doing.
Not playing it safe and risk taking, I think, is a big part of that. I think you do need to, when the time is right, to take that risk. To
calculated risks. Calculated risks for sure.
I mean, I did that myself last year with the COVID stuff. You know, we talked about this before on my radio show. Taking those risks, and I mean, I'm sure you left Denmark in order to move to Australia. That's a risk in and of itself, you know. So taking that risk because you know that there's something that you really want out of there, you know.
But taking risks or taking, I don't know if risks necessarily is the right word, but doing something outside of your comfort zone is so healthy.
Yeah.
And whether like, for instance, like I've bungee jumped, I've jumped out of airplanes, and like all that stuff is super uncomfortable. But but the feeling you get after, like you feel invincible. And doing stuff like that, whether that's jumping out of an airplane, whether that's leaving a country to go and live somewhere else and start all over, is really healthy.
Yeah.
Because again, it pushes you. It enables something in you. Like it almost changes your DNA a little bit.
Well, actually, what it does is stimulates new neural networks in your brain.
Probably, yeah.
No, it literally does. That's what, when you do something new, it stimulates different parts of your brain because you're making new neural networks, and it
makes sense.
Like it does things for like a mental health thing as well, because you're challenging yourself and overcoming things and creating new neural networks, so your brain's firing a bit more and releasing dopamine and stuff like that when so yeah, it's really good. You have to challenge yourself in life, otherwise you do just stay the same, and stagnate, and that's not healthy.
Growth and progress. I mean, that's what
absolutely. And I think that's also why so many people are just are never gonna progress because they're too scared of stepping outside of that comfort zone.
Overcoming fear is a big thing.
No, I got my job down in Coles. Oh shit, COVID is here now. I have to go to either try and slowly adapt and try and start something else while you still have the job that you may or may not have in 2 months or whatever it is. But if that's and another thing, if that's not a job you like to begin with, then that's never going to end well.
That's what I'm
never going to end well.
Do you know how many musicians I know, like in other bands? Obviously, I've been around a while, so you talk to people and like they get to a stage where they could really take a shot with the music, but they're all like, "Oh, but I can't get the time off work." And I'm like, "Dude, you hate that fucking job. You hate that job. You would love to do this.
How much do you want it?"
Yeah, exactly. You hate that job. Like fucking. Oh, but they won't give me time off work. And I'm like, I get it. You got to pay the bills. Quit. If you hate it,
quit your job.
Yeah, exactly.
Find something. There's so many ways you can hustle and make money online.
Yeah, exactly.
If you put the time into it. But I get it. You don't know anything about it. No. Yeah. You didn't know anything about being a carpenter either before you did 4 years at TAFE.
Exactly,
It's the same thing. You need to put in the time.
Yeah.
I still have no idea what I'm doing here, man. But you know what? I still keep grinding.
Do you know? As I heard a phrase the other day, which is sort of apt. Like, the world is just people walking into rooms and saying things. Like nobody knows what they're doing. Do you know what I mean?
That's excellent.
Everyone's just talking shit, like just pretending like they know what's going on. Yeah. Nobody understands everything. Even Stephen Hawking says that. Like, the thing to know is that you know nothing. Like, you may know a lot about one subject, but you don't know anything about anything else.
Absolutely.
All the knowledge out there in the universe over all the things you could do, you don't know fuck all. So there's always things you can be doing. So
picking up new skills. I mean, I learned how to do lights, like like live music venues. Like learning it, that skill I learned, started doing it last year, and now I'm literally running the lighting rig at venues now. Like it's not every single venue that I've learned that. You know, like that was a skill that I had no idea on how to do that before, and all of a sudden I'm like. And now it's like it's the most fun thing to do now. It's awesome, you know?
There you go.
So, but there's a hesitation about like, because I went into there hesitantly, like, you know, like, I don't know anything about lights and all that kind of stuff. And there's like, you look at the control board, there's like just buttons and stuff everywhere. I was like, this is insane. How am I going to learn this?
Yeah.
I give it time, you know? It's all a memory game. Everything is just a memory game.
For sure. Like imagine if you want to be a pilot or a surgeon or something like that. You go like, holy shit.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like
learn bits and pieces here and there.
10 years later, not so much.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Time. You know. That's it. It's not like you gotta like automatically just jump into the role. It's not like if you want to be a surgeon, you're not going to be doing it tomorrow. Like if I can't walk out here and be like, right, just walk down to the hospital, and I mean people will stop me if I grab a scalpel and try. But like, you know what I mean? You can't, you know, it's about the journey. And like you said, a lot of people don't want to take that because it's hard to do. It's easier to stay in your comfort zone and be like, well, I've got this easy job. Like, it's not so bad. I can just sit here. And don't get me wrong, that's okay if like you've got goals. Like if you want to save money to go traveling, like not so much right now, but I got a mate, like he doesn't really give a shit about his job. He never talks about his job. But all he does is travel. He saves up money and then he goes and travel. And that's his thing. That's absolutely fantastic.
That's awesome.
But if you've got something else you'd rather be doing, then maybe you should be, you know, having a look at how you can make that happen. Rather than like a lot of people look down on people who try to live out their dreams doing the hard things
because they're doing stuff that you are too scared to do yourself.
I get a lot of people who I get a lot of people who support me as well, but I get a lot of people who look down on me or talk down to me as like, oh, you fucking bum, you don't have a regular job. It's like, man, but I work fucking hard for this shit. Like you can't say that I don't. Like if you know me and you see how hard I work, like, you know. But people don't see that and people don't understand it. And like you said, some people flat out, they just don't want to take the risk themselves. And it's like, okay, you know, but at least I'm not going to die wondering, you know what I mean? Like you can, you know.
And you're not going to die being a sellout. Like something, you know what I mean? Like someone said,
I might die poor. Like I might die very poor.
But you're going to die happy and true to yourself.
Yeah, at least
I'd rather be happier than rich, to be honest.
I've always said that. Yeah.
100%. I mean, there was an interview that I saw recently. They were talking about rich people and all these people that they knew, and they said they knew a handful of like literally billionaires, and they said none of them were really happy. None of them, and yet they met some of the happiest like poor people.
I think you can definitely be both. You can definitely be happy. You can definitely be poor and miserable, and you can also be rich and happy.
Money does obviously help with some things. You don't have to worry about certain things.
Money gives you opportunities,
but it doesn't mean it doesn't give you a guarantee that all of a sudden, you know, like easy.
I think. I mean, obviously, I think it probably comes down to whether you are successful or not. Because you can definitely be rich and be very like have a lot of stress. You know, having a lot of financial stress and a lot of like debt and assets and what have you not, and but yeah, like money effectively is a tool that allows you to do stuff. So whether you're doing the right stuff, something you're happy with, I think that's what can be the catalyst for happiness. Maybe again, I don't know. I'm not a millionaire, but not yet anyway. But but it is it's a difficult conversation to have because most people never have that opportunity to say, oh no, I was a multimillionaire, but you know. I'm much happier now that I am working in calls.
Exactly. You know.
I actually did know someone years ago who he left a six-figure salary job to go work at the airport, just like handling baggage and stuff like that, because he was fascinated and was obsessed with aircraft, the planes. That's what he wanted to do. So he left like a really high-paying job in order to do a low-paying job.
Was he happier doing that?
He was, 100%. So I mean, like it does happen. Those people want to leave something even though they're financially better off. They end up leaving it in order to do something that they really are more passionate about.
You're preaching to the choir. I was the same. You know, I've had multiple six-figure years, and I'm sitting here now. You know, I've hardly made any money this year, but again, super passionate about what I'm doing, and again, I trust the process. I trust as long as I keep grinding, as long as it's the same as you. Like sometimes I have days where I like spend 3 or 4, 5 hours. Just looking up shit on YouTube and learning stuff and making new connections, like reaching out to people people, you know, again, like I spoke about earlier, like people that know something, people that know and can do shit that I can't. Or they can do shit better than me, so I want to learn from them and stuff.
Exactly. Surrounding yourself with the right people that share the same kind of passion as you.
So like your network defines how successful you're going to be.
Exactly.
Yeah, like your opportunities, well, obviously, like, you know, in poorer countries and stuff, like we were saying, money gives you opportunities, and in some countries they have to, like, you can't really live your dreams if you're, like, you know, living in those slums in Lagos or whatever, and like picking through, you know. So we're lucky here that, like, you know, there's less of that going on. There still is a bit, you know, like poverty and that stops people doing those things. But I think if you got the opportunity, you should take it, and you almost got an obligation to take it, because certain people don't have that opportunity. So if you can do something, you're in a position where you can take a shot, like, take the shot, you know what I mean? Like, don't let it go to waste, because
take the risk.
Yeah, take the risk, because so many people don't have that.
And be okay if you fail.
Yeah, and
because you will never know, man.
Yeah.
And the thing
is, I think being humble about these things as well, like knowing that you're not good at it, so you can try and be good at it, and also knowing that you might not be successful. If you're humble about all that kind of stuff,
absolutely,
then it doesn't really matter. I think as long as you gave it a go and tried it.
And failure is actually, like, a lot of successful people try and fail.
They have failed
again.
far more.
And the failures
are
the steps to their success. Because
of course.
That's where you, like, you know, you hear the stories about Michael Jordan, you know, getting cut from his high school basketball team, you know what I mean?
If you hear the story of, I think, any successful person out there, they would have failed far more than they've won. But the difference between them and anyone else is they never stopped.
That's just it. They
just kept going.
Yeah. Perseverance. Yeah.
And the thing is, if you the whole thing about sort of like trusting the process, as long as you say, look, as I said before, how bad do you want it?
Yeah.
What's the alternative? If the alternative is you're going to go back and do the job that you fucking hate, or doing something you're not passionate about, as long as you keep doing, as long as you keep mentally believing that there is everything will be okay. Right now it's not okay, but then, you know, the saying is, if it's not okay, I can't remember what the saying is, everything will be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end.
Yeah, okay.
So basically, if you just trust that as long as you keep going, like, again, like, new opportunities presents all the time, because you have, like, it's almost like you're attracting opportunities to you because you want it so bad.
Because you're working hard for it, you know.
And then again, as you said, like, if people are giving you shit for not having a regular job, so what? So what? Yeah. I know what I want, and I'm working hard for it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's
all
that
thing
matters.
that people don't see, is that they think you're not working because you don't have a day job.
Yeah, because they don't understand.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't understand it, and that's cool too. That's fine.
It's frustrating, because it's like people think a day job has to involve some kind of like hard labor or something, like, because they hate
trade your time for money.
Yeah, that's exactly. I mean, we've all had day jobs. Like, I've had day jobs,
of course.
And I was fucking miserable. Do you know what I mean? I had more money, only slightly more, because I was minimum wage. But, like, you know,
money was no longer an incentive, because, you know, if you knew that you could make money doing something else that you were happy about, it might not be as much, but if you could survive on that, that's all that really matters, right? At the end of the day. So,
but the thing is, and this is again something that I spend a lot of my time looking up, is like, there's so many ways of making money online, of making money from home.
Yep. You just gotta try and figure it out.
You just gotta try and figure it out. You gotta network. You gotta read. You gotta study. Like, you need to learn.
Yeah.
And you need to have the mindset saying, I can learn this. There's so many other people out there doing it. I just need to find out how, like, what's the level that I want to learn, and what's the level where I want to partner up with someone else.
Yeah.
Because you'd much rather want, say, 20, 30, 40% of something than you want 100% of nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you sit at home and you're trying to do it all yourself, rather than saying, look, why don't I team up with something, like a group of 3 or 4, and then, you know, you get 20 or 30%. Yeah. Rather than you trying to do it all yourself, and then it's going to be too overwhelming, you're going to fail and you're going to feel bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Then partner up.
Yeah.
That's again, like, network. Your network will make you increase and would make you go from A to D or E or F so much quicker.
And finding, I guess the hard part of that is finding those right people to work with.
Absolutely. You got to find like-minded. So again, like, you probably going to stop to listen to most of your friends, because again, they don't understand you unless they are in the same situation.
With my own friends, I try to avoid talking a lot of business, because it kind of just goes over their head. And it's nothing against them or anything. It's just that they're not interested in that kind of world, you know. So, so I'm like, every time I have a conversation with people, it almost inevitably leads to, like, just music and stuff, because that's just where my
same.
haters. Like,
Yeah.
So it's like, that's the only thing that I'm interested in anymore. It's the only thing that I ever want to talk about. And it's like everything else, all this other, even the pandemic, it's like, you know, what about the music? What's the latest song that you heard, the latest band you discovered? That's what I want to talk about, you know?
So that's again, like put yourself in situations where you are, put yourself in forums and groups of people that want the same thing, people that want to be successful. And the thing is, it doesn't even have to be music. It can literally just be people that want to be successful with whatever they're doing because they have the same mindset. They have that drive saying, again, I don't give a fuck about what everybody else will think of me. I'm going to work hard for this. And working hard for it, for what you want, that's the key. As long as you can do that, you're going to be ahead of the game. You're going to be ahead of everyone else. And then everybody else can have whatever opinion they want. Because if you fail, they're going to be, I told you so. But if you win, they're going to be like, damn.
Yeah, exactly.
Damn.
Even if you do fail and they say they told you so, who cares?
Exactly, because
they never supported you in the first place.
No regrets, right?
You took the fucking...
Exactly.
At the end of the day, they're still going to be jealous that you took the risk.
Yes.
You did something.
You put yourself out there.
You did something, and at least you gave it a shot, because it's well easier to just not try at anything.
Of course, it's the easiest thing in the world to not try. That's why everyone does it.
That's the safest option.
Because there's, I think, we're sort of programmed from a young age to like, this is what you do in life. You're born, you go to school, you graduate, you go get a job, you have kids, and there's those steps that you take, and that's what they teach you at school, rather than like, what
do you actually want to do?
What do you want to do? What do you want to do? And like,
they don't teach you in schools. They don't teach you how to think. They just teach you stuff that you should memorize.
Oh, it's to prepare you for the production line.
Yeah.
Hold my beer. Let's talk about school, man. Like, like again.
But that's what they do. They just sort of condition you to memorize a lot of stuff that, for the most part, you're not going to remember 5-10 years down the track. Yeah. How do you learn stuff? That's what they should be teaching kids, you know?
Life skills. They should really be teaching life skills.
Figuring out what you want to do. If someone told me that I could be doing what I'm doing now when I was in high school, it would have been a huge game changer, but no one told me. And so I had to kind of figure it out for myself.
Same, I remember when I was young, like even like when I was a kid, and like you'd say, you'd say to your parents even like, I want to play AFL, I want to play football. And they're like, don't do that. Nobody ever makes it doing that. You know what I mean? You need to go to school. Yeah, some do.
Some do.
But like the thing is, when you're a kid, and you keep getting told that, like, like when I said I wanted to do music as a teenager, and everyone's like, don't do that. Like, nobody ever makes any money doing that. That's stupid. You just want to get a trade, get a job. But exactly. But the thing is when you're impressionable and you're hearing that over and over again, you start thinking, maybe they're right. They're older than me, and they're the teachers. They're the parents, And I always copped that when I was younger. And then, like, I just sort of went the other way anyways. I just said, well, fuck that. I'm going to do this anyways. But... yeah, I feel like a lot of people don't get the opportunity because they're not told that, like, you can do this if you really want it. You work at it, And I just feel people need to be told that more often. Like, don't get me wrong, like, don't be telling people, everyone's going to make it. Everyone's going to be a football star. Everyone's going to be a musician.
Of course they're not. Yeah.
But if you say, like...
But some are.
Yeah. The thing is,
some are.
Is 100... You don't score 100% of the shots you don't take. So if you're not taking the shot, then you're obviously not. Like, if you want to be a soccer player or whatever, and you don't give it a shot, then of course you're not going to be. And I just feel like a lot of people get told that, that, that's not the safe thing to do. You got to have an... Don't get me wrong, you should have an education. You should want to be educated just because it's a good thing to have. Get everything you can, learn everything you can, obviously, but... learn everything from school, but don't take it as a be all and end all of like, these are the things you have to do in life. You have to buy the house, and you have to have your 9-to-5 job and have 2.5 kids, and then you'll be happy, and it's like, well, yeah, but that's fine if that's what you want. If that's literally your goal, mission accomplished.
That's fine,
Excellent.
Yeah. But again, but that's a whole sort of like herd mentality, because that's what like 90%, 95% of everyone is doing that.
It's because we're trained from a young age to be like, this is what success looks like. And even through the media now, we're told this is what success looks like. Having material possessions, having money, and security, and women, and or whatever, so having a partner, and like all of that is from a kid. You're told these are the things you need to be successful in life, and it's all like these are the things you get when you're successful, and it's like, but are they? Like some people don't want that, you know. Like I don't give a shit about like Ferraris and awesome cars, you know, and like lots of money. I just want to be happy doing what I want to do, you know. Like really, it's not that much to ask, and then but people will turn on you if you openly come out and say that, like, this is what I want to do, like, idiot.
Like, but it's because you no longer sort of conform to the
exactly
to the, like, you're trying to put a round peg in a square hole.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. This is it's my life 101. That's how it's been the whole time. So
it comes from a lot of people who have played it safe their entire life, and they're kind of like not understanding what exactly you're doing because they just think it's too risky or whatever it is, you know. Because they've just been used to a certain way of
or they're resentful because they hate their fucking job.
Oh
and they sit there and they're just angry that you don't do that, and it's like, okay. I find that some of them, like some of my friends when we were younger, they resented what I was doing and stuff. And even then I had a job, like back then, like a regular day job. But then as I've got older, a lot of those guys, like the ones with the kids and the family and they got the house and stuff, they're like, yeah, it's okay. But they're always looking to me for interesting stories. They're like, what's Brendan up to? What are you doing? Like, I was like, I went and toured here, or I'm in the studio, like, because, you ask them what they're up to. And some of them are like, kids or whatever, and some of them are like, they don't talk about their job because like they hate it and it's boring, so they just want to hear about what other people are doing. And so it swings and roundabouts, really,
It is, it is. And but I think again, like, the key thing is just as long as you're happy with what you're doing. If you have someone who's more than happy to be an accountant or like a tradie of some sort, that's cool, man.
Yeah, no,
you made it. Happy.
But the
like,
thing
congratulations.
You're not going to have any like painters or artists or musicians talking down to you because you're an accountant. You know what I mean? Like, hardly ever. I never like tell my mates who are bricklayers or whatever, like fuck your job. Do you know what I mean? But they'll turn around and quite literally like, it's not a real fucking job. Get a real fucking job, you fucking loser. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, man, I didn't put your shit down. Like, fucking whatever, man. Live your life. Just live your life, man. Like,
it's just a lack of understanding.
Yeah,
that's all it is. Yeah. Like you come out with this completely uneducated statement again, and because you don't understand.
Yeah.
And I think and the really cool thing about musicians or artists or creative people in general is the fact is that they are like they have such different values to what they do in general.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that you can't be a musician and not have a family and not have and not have a Ferrari or a nice car or a nice house. It just means that usually those things doesn't really matter to you. Like,
it's not the motive to do what you
exactly. Yeah. So the motive to you is to create. Like it's to have that. It's almost the same as being like an entrepreneur. Like, and you are building your own. Like, you're building your music. You're building your art. Well, if you're an actor or whatever it is, like, you have your craft. Yeah. Same as if you're building houses or if you're building anything else or building a corporate career. Yeah. But it's such a different value set. Like,
exactly.
And obviously, like, I would have no idea how it would be like to be someone who wants to make it in the, like, as a lawyer or something like that, because you have to put a suit on every day and sit and talk to people and bullshit and books and all that. See, to me, again, I already have my prejudices. You can hear about that, right? But if you're a lawyer, you're probably super proud of being that, and I'm a part of the family business and whatever. Like that, exactly, like, or a doctor.
Imagine, I think being a doctor, it's something that you'd have to be passionate about to do.
Well, it's a calling, It's not so much a job. It's a calling, a career, a path, in life. And I think a lot of people, like, you can be happy in any aspect of your life if you're on your path and doing your thing and doing your calling.
100%.
Like, if you're a doctor and that's your passion 100%. And you're saving lives, like, that's amazing. And if you're happy doing that, more power to you. If you want to get money, if you want to be a stockbroker and your whole thing is, I want lots of money so I can have the nice things in life. And if you're happy doing that, absolutely go for it. But don't look down on anyone else because they value other things. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not a one size fits all society.
People are very quick to sort of jump to and again, and also feel like they have the right to utter their opinion and stuff like that.
Exactly. And that's just it. Like, I was saying before, it's like no one's really got it figured out. It's just people walking into rooms and saying things, So like,
and I love that.
So it's like,
who says that again?
I think I saw it on that show, Peep Show. You ever seen Peep Show? With it's a British comedy show. Yeah.
I'm just gonna go turn the aircon up.
Yeah, and he either way, one of the guys he went into a university lecture illegally, basically. Like, he was just pretending to be a student.
Yeah.
And he walked in there and he thought to himself, oh, it's really easy. And it's like, oh my God, is this as easy as it is to get education? Maybe society's false. Maybe it's just that people are just like, people just walking into rooms and saying things. Nobody knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
That's like, it sort of resonated with me because I'm like, I get that. Because I even think, you look at politicians, for example, they're getting up there one day saying one thing and the next day they're saying something else. It's like, they don't even know what they're doing. They're supposed to be leading us, but I mean, they're just doing what everyone else is doing the best they can with the information they got.
Human just like anyone.
Yeah, so
else.
I mean,
yeah.
You know, it's just funny because some people we elect to tell us, you know, to make the decisions for us. And really what people need to realize is they might have more insight because that they focus on those things, but you know, their valid opinions and are just as valid as anyone else's. Do you know what I mean?
But their opinions nonetheless, though.
Yeah, exactly. Opinions are just opinions. They're not facts. You know, what you should be doing is scientifically looking at things and making decisions based on facts.
Exactly.
But being a politician would also be such an ungrateful job, man. Because
either way you get hated.
Exactly. Like if you're literally like running a country, like you're gonna be either the most loved or the most hated person, pretty much.
What you do, because eventually you're gonna get voted out one way or another. Like it's sort of like you're gonna cop a hide and
then where do you go from there? If say you become the prime minister or the president or whatever of a country, and then obviously you get booted out, elected out, or if you've had your time or whatever, where do you go from there? Because that's the top level
Speaking
job.
to us.
Musician.
Well, but think about it. A lot of them get those golden handshake sort of pensions. If you're prime minister, you get a pension for the rest of your life.
I guess it's the financial incentive.
You could become an artist. You could become a musician after that because you've got
so it's really just a financial motivation just to become the elected leader of the country.
I think if you are a politician, I think you're in it because you like power. I think
certain politicians get in there because they think they can make a difference, but I think a lot of people you'd have to have some sort of ego to.
But those ones never get voted in though.
But even like I think most politicians are in it because they want to make a difference for whatever they stand for. Exactly, you know what I mean?
Their core beliefs. But I think you'd have to have some sort of ego on you to be a politician. As well, because
you'd have
to be able to go into politics and be like, I know what's best for everyone else, like that's some sort of statement to make. Do you know what I mean? Like you literally, this is what the whole country should do, and I know best. That's some sort of ego, you know.
Yeah. But then again, you have to go. Like you need to go out and convince and sell your message to people, which again in
like a sales sort of thing. Like,
it is like look and that's again another funny thing when you talk about musicians. But look, all musicians are salespeople. Like you are always when you're on stage. What are you doing? You're trying to get people to like your music, one way or the other. Some are really good at it. Some are really good at engaging with the people. Others aren't.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, no, we're not sales. We're not marketing. Well, it's kind of what you are doing every time you play.
I think the trouble is that a lot of people in bands don't look at their bands as a business, and it sounds really bad to say it's a business, but that's what it actually is.
110%. Exactly. Like if you do want to make it and you aren't looking at it as a business, and when you aren't looking at cash flow, when you aren't looking at potential options for you to make money, whether it's from selling merch or selling CDs that arrive on the day, and also if you don't have that thought in mind, it's gonna be such an uphill battle, man. Such an uphill struggle, man.
The way to look at it is a lot of like artists and musicians they're not in it for the money, so they're not
to begin with necessarily.
But what it is I think artists and musicians want to make enough money just to continue making the art and doing what they want to do. That's what you want to do. And from that sense, you have to look at it from a business point of view, because you go, well, I need to make this much so I can continue living the life I want to live. Yeah. So that's sort of the way to look at it. I don't think there's not too many musicians out there that are like, I want a lot of money. I mean, there is, you know, Gene Simmons with money and
the funny thing though, if you ask someone to say, look, what's I see myself as a musician and stuff, you know, I want to, like, do you want to do it full time? Oh, I'd love to do it full time. I'd love to get a record deal or something like that. First of all, a record deal aren't going to solve the problem, but that's a chat for another day. But if you want to do it full time, that means you got to replace whatever income you have now or whatever cost of living you have now. You got to replace that with music.
Yeah.
And for you to do that again, like, how much is that? So if that's you making 40, 50 grand a year, how do you make 40, 50 grand a year in music?
Yeah.
If you want to do it full-time professionally, so that is your full-time occupation, you need to make that amount of money doing music.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you can't do a part-time job here and there, something else, but and then transition. Yeah. And even high-profile bands still have part-time jobs.
A lot of them, yeah.
But what I'm saying is, like, because you have that many opportunities online doesn't mean you actually have to do that. You can do stuff online that may or may not be music related.
Yeah.
Like e-commerce is a great way of you to learn about stuff there that you can apply to music as well, like with your merch sales, your stuff, but you can also run an e-commerce store selling kitchen appliances or baby clothes or whatever else that there's demand for. Yeah. But for you to shift that mindset and say, look, I want to have 20 hours a week where I can just do music. So whether let's say that would be about three days or 2.5 days where I do that, and I have 2.5 days where I have a day job. Then you need to adjust your weekly schedule to work towards that goal, rather than saying, I've got my job and I'm just gonna put in, as the hours here and there to write songs and jam with the band.
When I've got the time.
But if you start treating it as a business and you start having that mindset of saying, maybe this is possible. Yeah. And you start working towards, as we talking about before about having an album launch. If you start working towards it, like 6 months, I reckon 6 months is a really strong time frame for you to make some serious impact, for you to start working, to potentially start being a musician, at least part-time. Yeah. But again, it comes back to, I've said it a couple of times now, how bad do you want it? Yeah. And again, put some action behind it. Yep. I'm not saying you should quit your job tomorrow and go balls deep and try to make it happen, but you can have that transition if that is a desire. And I don't give a fuck if you're 18 straight out of school or whether I'm 43. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, you just got to make up your mind and don't give a crap about what everybody else is telling you.
Yeah, 100%. Agree.
And do what you want to do. That's essentially what you
and be ready to sacrifice and work for it.
Yep.
Yeah, 100%. And the thing is, like one of my main drivers, and this is again another thing, you got to ask yourself why. Like, why are you doing it? So again, for me, it's predominantly the same as what you were saying as well. So it gives me the opportunity to work from home, but it also gives me the opportunity to work from wherever in the world I am. I would love to go back to Denmark. We've been talking about that, by the time the whole pandemic is over, maybe go back for a year or so, for the kids to be able to experience that. If I can, between now and then, can build something online that can give me residual of consistent income by working from a laptop, I don't need to be in Perth. I could be in Denmark or in Hobart or in...
It's that flexibility, which is, I think, is a huge... I mean, it's a big driving force for me. It's never been about money, and not even fully about just chasing something that I'm completely passionate about. That's obviously a huge component about it. Yeah. But it's that flexibility that sort of attracts me a lot.
Yeah.
To go and do what you really want to do at any particular time, and go to places wherever you want, whenever you want, and not be locked down to a 9 to 5 situation, Monday to Friday, A lot of people are stuck in those sort of situations, and if you can get yourself out of it, yep. I mean, that just changes everything for you,
Yeah.
But it's also the fact, like, another massive thing is the fact is you can, for me, it's also to show, hopefully just be able to show my kids that you can actually, if you do want to go a little bit against the stream, just go for it, believe it.
I actually think that the future, like, with the way the world is heading, the future of work is actually heading in that direction anyways. I think the people that will succeed in the future, the people that have that sort of mindset that, like, I do a little bit of this, a little bit of that are sort of more entrepreneurial, do you know what I mean? Like, that are willing to work, like, the whole 9 to 5 thing is going to become less and less, and it's more about, I'm doing this between these hours, and I'm, hustling here, and then I'm doing this, and I'm doing that, It's going to be more portfolio careers is what I'm saying, rather than just you have your one job.
I well and truly believe that if you think that you work in retail and your job is safe for the next 10 years, I think you're on a different planet.
Oh yeah.
Because everything, especially if you're gonna get more and more pandemic stuff, and you're gonna sort of have that divide of now where every time everything goes into lockdown and we're so fragile, like all the big businesses are still open. All the small ones are getting shafted. Yeah. Well, everything moves online.
Yeah. Yep. They're saying a lot of people, they're finding it hard at the moment with places opening up back in Australia to find people for the service industry or for like bar work and like restaurants and stuff, because people don't want to be working there anymore because they're the first places to get shut down every time there's a lockdown. So it's really insecure work. It always was insecure work, and now it's super insecure that get a couple cases, bam, all of a sudden you're out of work for who knows how long, and you got no benefits because you're a casual, you know? And so it's like you've got to have a sort of contingency. And so, yeah, I just think...
that's one of the things that I brought up earlier about the whole pandemic sort of changing a lot of things in our world, is that it does... You did notice last year when everything was in lockdown that people were not going to their offices anymore and had to go work from home. And now it's almost like you can just work from home all the time. There's no reason to go to the office. You just did it for 6 months, so why not continue doing that, you know? And then that kind of just makes you decide, okay, what else can I do at home? You know what I mean? And just sort of makes people rethink about what they're actually doing.
But yeah, I think a lot of people have thought that for X amount of time. And again, like, let's also not forget, in Perth we only had 6 weeks really of 5 6 weeks of lockdown. Like, you look in Canada, like we got a friend over there who just had a baby. They haven't seen any of the family since I think it was August. Like that's like 3/4 of a year. You know what I mean? So if you are in those situations, like either you're probably gonna, I don't know, like slit your wrist, or you're gonna have to be super creative and come up with something else, because that would do something to your head. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
But for those people where it does, sort of trigger something and saying, maybe there is another way. Then if the ones that act on it are the ones where I reckon where you can really, really have a really interesting future, because you take control of it.
I just think that those sort of people, that's going to be the only way forward eventually. Like, soon that'll be the only way to operate, because the way the economy was already heading towards that sort of more entrepreneurial, like gig sort of economy where you're doing bits and pieces. Like, jobs were sort of going in that direction because of technology, because of automation and all that sort of stuff. Like, traditional jobs are getting less and less anyways. So I think the pandemic has, again, supercharged that. And I think people are going to have to be taught, you're going to have to adapt and be really versatile to succeed in the future, no matter what you do, I think. Yeah,
definitely. That's why I think the flexibility thing that I mentioned is super important. It's a huge driving force that I think people are now going in that direction, like you said, of like that the normal of what used to be isn't normal anymore. You know what I mean? It's starting to sort of split apart, and now they're like, the whole idea of Monday to Friday and having just weekends is completely absurd to me. It makes zero sense. Why are we still doing this? It doesn't make any sense. Why are we only having shops open between the restrictions of the hours in WA especially? Like, it never made any sense. And people have been just so stuck on it. And they want this and they want that. And it's like, you're losing a battle that you're never going to win, because the world is going to leave you behind. I think eventually, it could be a long time, but eventually the whole idea of a Monday to Friday thing will be completely gone, I think.
But also the fact is, like, if you create your own business online, and it can be regardless of whether you're running, like I said, whether you're selling pet food or whether you're a musician, it's irrelevant. If you have something online, it's always there.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, if I can wake up at 3 a.m. and I can go onto YouTube and watch the videos of my favorite bands whenever. But then again, sometimes, like, you can be that exclusive thing. So don't forget, on Saturday or Tuesday or whatever at 8 o'clock we're gonna have a live stream, so tune in. Then, well, in that case I better clear my calendar so I can tune in and ask questions and have a drinking game with Brendan from ATF, you know what I mean? But if you have that stuff, so I said, like, your entrepreneurial mindset, whether you are a musician or whether you run a business online, as long as you don't physically need to be somewhere, I think it's gonna be the game changer. For some
that's
people.
what I was sort of alluding to before. That's what I think that we're on the same track there. That, like, because you need to be able to be adaptable and be anywhere and be
absolutely, because you have those people, whether you are a lawyer or a doctor or something, because your dad and his dad before him was doing that, and you sort of follow that suit, or whether you work in mining or have another, like, an actual labor or a trading job. That's all good, but what are you going to do when there's no longer demand for the trade? Or for that thing. And again, like, if you have a lawyer job, you're like, you can run that online. Like you don't need physically don't need to be there in many, unless of course you have to go to court. But even stuff like that, I suppose you could technically run that online as well.
Well, yeah, Zoom call going. Yeah.
I mean, I get it. Like obviously, if you need to build a house, you need to physically be there until they create a machine that can replace.
Which eventually will.
They definitely will. It'll be houses will be 3D printed by massive machines in the future, I reckon.
Well, you can already order like a container from China, and literally you just put up like assembled stuff. You've probably seen the video where they build like a skyscraper in 14 days or something.
Crazy.
On YouTube. Yeah, something like 30-story building or something. And they'll have like a time lapse so you can see how everything goes up in like 5 minutes and stuff. But yeah, like but yeah, absolutely. Everything is precast. Everything is literally just like a Lego. Boom, just put it together.
Everyone's afraid of AI as well, but it's like because they're afraid that all the jobs will be disappearing. But I'm like, well, how about you be the guy that maintains or runs the AI, do the program? You know what I mean? There's always going to be an alternative to those.
You can be afraid of it all you want, but those jobs are going to disappear anyways. It's the horse and then the car. Once the car was invented, anyone who stuck by like riding horses like as a business, like doing horse and buggy, it's like you're obsolete, and that's unfortunate if that's what you've grown up with. But you've got to be willing to change, because it doesn't matter how much you protest against it. Your job is your days are numbered doing that. And there's a lot of industries that are at the moment facing that very real prospect.
A lot of factory jobs, labor jobs, they're eventually going to be. I mean, even Uber, that'll be all automated. To be just
cars.
You know, you just literally order a car.
I cannot wait for like robot-driven cars. I cannot wait for it.
Oh, no more fucking stupid Australian drink drivers, man.
Exactly, man.
Every time I see someone who's driving the car, I get my blood is boiling, man. It's such a like people here just do it.
Yeah.
Whereas back home, like I said, and this is something I'm so like back home, you get a massive fine, man, massive. I think I don't know if they changed it now, but back in the day when I was living there, like you got one month pay, so it didn't matter what your pay was. You got fined a month. So see, for some people, you know, that could be $10,000.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And so here it's like you get like a slap on the wrist, and you get a couple of demerit points and $400 or something like that. And
drink driving, I think you lose your license now, don't you?
Yes, I think they're definitely they're a lot more strict on it now.
Then you get it back again eventually, though.
Eventually.
And again, it also comes down to how much you're over and stuff. But it's more the fact that people are so cruisy about it, man.
Yeah, it's because it's been sort of ingrained in the culture, because it used to be a thing years and years ago that it was just commonplace, because there was no booze buses and there was no cameras and stuff like that around, that people were just doing it commonplace. I mean, I hear stories from like the older generations all the time about what they used to do. It's crazy what they got away with.
Yeah.
So I think part of that was just sort of infiltrated into the generations over time, and we just kind of gotten used to it, you know.
Yeah, I think Australian drinking culture is sort of.
It is.
It's ingrained in our culture. Like, it's ingrained.
Definitely bring on Tesla robot cars.
Yeah, I can't wait to get rid of. I've actually been trying to get rid of my car. I can't figure out. I think we talked about it briefly on the radio show.
I think so. Yeah.
I've been trying to get rid of my car, and just living in Perth in particular, it's just almost impossible to get around without a car. But there are cities in the world that do it. It's like, why can't we have that, you know? I wish we had that. But bring on the self-driving cars, 100%.
You need better infrastructure, you know, better public transport and stuff. Yeah. Oh, no, it's the fire guy.
We ran out.
We ran out of fire.
Put some more wood in the fire then.
Yeah.
I'm bring it back.
Just going to put it back on here.
Here we go. I really like that touch, by the way. I really like the sort of fireside chat, you know.
Yeah, it's good. It's just hard to maneuver here.
They just need a space heater below it, and it'll actually feel like a.
Yeah.
Get that cranking during winter, yeah.
Just crank the aircon, man. Put it on heat.
Yeah, exactly. Well, give it a couple of months, and it'll get a bit more colder, I guess, to get more into a heater.
Back on.
There we go. Hopefully. Let's see.
It's going dead.
No more fire.
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
Yeah. Nice.
There we go. Just need to light the match.
Yeah, cool. Digital match.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to go camping in July as well. No, June, next month actually. So, I try to go to camping during the winter time because it's so much fun. Campfires and all that kind of stuff, you know.
Well, that's again one of the beautiful things about being in Australia. You know, there's so much bush, so much nature opportunities.
Everywhere,
Yeah.
Yeah, what's I'm sure I asked you this before, but in Denmark, what's the thing with camping? Or is that a thing at all there? Or?
Yeah, but the thing is, I can't remember if we spoke about this too, but like Denmark's like one of the flattest countries in the world. Like it's so, not that matters for camping, of course, but like I think the reason I brought it up is like I think most people when they do go camping, you would drive to somewhere in Europe, like somewhere where there's a bit more, beautiful scenery and stuff. Because like Denmark is beautiful. Don't get me wrong, but like I said, there's not many hills and stuff. Like you can drive down to like if you can easily drive down to France or Switzerland or something. We've got like the Alps and all that stuff, and you have this crazy beautiful scenery. You know what I mean? Like but
crazy you can just drive to another country just like that.
Yeah, obviously like when I talk to Australians or people in America and stuff, they go like, whoa, that's insane. It's like, well, it's kind of been normal to me all my life.
I mean, that's what it is. It's still perspective, isn't it?
It is. Yeah,
it's normal to some people is weird to others and so on and so forth.
But that's when I talk to some people in Denmark, it's the opposite. It's like, you're doing in Perth, like you can drive for 24 hours and be in the same state.
Yeah, exactly.
What? So like here, like in 24 hours, like you can literally be like in the southern part of Italy. Like that's far south as you can be, and you would have driven through like 6 countries or something like that.
Yeah, crazy.
But yeah, camping in general, of course, there's a lot of campsites in Denmark because Denmark is pretty much just surrounded by water. So it's such a small country, so there's water everywhere. There's a lot of campsites are at the beach.
Yeah.
But when I say beach, it's not like the beaches here, man. The water is not hot at all. But I suppose that's part of the beauty as well. And it's a very different lifestyle. But
of course.
Yeah. But it's awesome, man. But it's. Don't even know when I'm going to see my friends and family again. That's one thing that plays on my mind sometimes. If you have like a bad day or something, you go like, "Fuck, man, when am I gonna?"
Yeah, a lot of people in the same.
Gonna get over there, man.
Like who knows? It's
crazy.
Yeah, exactly. And again, as we spoke about earlier, like when is it possible, and with what restrictions? Like what are the changes going to be like? It's
going to be interesting to see what those change, because obviously we can still fly within Australia. Like I'm heading over to Melbourne in July, and that'll be the first time I'll be traveling like since like the whole pandemic thing, essentially. But for the most part, it's relatively the same, apart from like the COVID forms and stuff you got to fill out. But international traveling, I mean, that's going to be a very interesting thing to see what they're going to be doing. And once the pandemic's finished, and then what's going to be in place after that as well, Is
it ever going to finish?
You know what I mean?
Is it ever going to finish? Yeah. If it's something, it might be something that's here to stay in one way, shape, or form, like to a certain degree, and what have you.
I felt that it's probably always going to be around.
Well, they reckon that
you still have SARS around. You still got all the.
They reckon the vaccines, once enough of the population in the world is vaccinated, the COVID will become more like getting the flu. Do you know what I mean? Like some people will still die, but it'll still be around in one form or another, because the flu shot every year is just sort of hopefully to make sure a lot of people don't die from that as well. So yeah, it'll be around, and not just that, but when's the next one, the next thing that we're not prepared for coming? So they'll have to be prepared for when this happens, because it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
Well, there have been roughly, not necessarily pandemics of this size, but virus outbreaks happen, especially of this particular type of virus, roughly 10 to 15 years. It's been happening for decades and decades and decades.
It's just, we've been
lucky up until now.
Basically, it's basically just luck that it hasn't just gone.
Yep.
So I don't know, it's crazy, but I mean, just from a touring perspective, for the future of bands and stuff. I mean, I don't know. It's got to happen at some point, but how difficult is it going to be compared to how difficult it was before? Because it was difficult before. How much more is it going to be this time around? I think
the first bands that'll get back are obviously those big, huge bands.
Of course, they'll be the ones that'll lead the way because they can afford it.
But as for the rest of us, who knows what it's going to look like? If you can't afford, say if you do have to quarantine in certain countries for a matter of time, some people just aren't going to be able to afford that.
No.
So, who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. Guess we'll see, I suppose.
Yeah, but it's just really. I suppose that whole uncertainty is probably like the biggest, most daunting part about it. You know, the fact is like you just don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, a lot of questions, not a lot of answers. You know,
we'll get
exactly.
to it eventually. You know, like we always seem to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we'll look back on this and go, "Wow, what a time that was." You know.
Yeah.
Same as anything, you know. If it doesn't kill you, makes you stronger. You learn from it.
Yeah. I think hopefully most of us or many of us will have learned from this. I certainly have for myself, definitely. So, yeah. I don't know. We'll see how we go.
Cool, man.
Yeah. I don't know. I think the other thing we should take away from this pandemic is taking care of people when they're unwell. Like I was saying to you, I've said to you before, I've always thought that if you're unwell, you shouldn't be going to work, you shouldn't be going out. Do you know what I mean? Whether you've got a cold or flu or whatever, you should be staying at home so you can get better yourself, because you need to rest, you need to recuperate, but not spreading it around. And I think hopefully another thing people take away from the pandemic is that you take care of yourself when you're unwell and you don't go to work, and like there should be some sort of protections in place, because I think it's more cost effective to pay more sick pay to one person than to have that person come to work, give you less productivity, and then infect other people. Yeah. And then you're getting, it's costing you more and more. So I feel like that's something that we should really look into as well. Just because, then you've got sort of like people don't feel like they have to go to work. Do you know what I mean? Because they're gonna. I think that's still this macho ego thing. I'm the provider of the house. I have to go and make money. I have to. But some people literally have to, because they're working paycheck to paycheck.
The mentality of the workplaces, the businesses, I think that needs to change a little bit as far as like making sure. But at the same time, I think the reason why that is the way it is because people have sort of taken the piss out of the whole sick day thing. Of like taking time off when they're not really sick because they want to go off and do something else that comes down to they're more passionate about, because they don't want to be stuck during doing some office job or factory job because it's like 35 degrees and they'd rather be down on the beach or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like there's that sort of thing that's kind of ruined the whole idea of having sick pay. So there's there's no easy solutions. No, I'm
just saying. I hope we learn some lessons, but like. There are hopefully some smarter people than I figure this out, and figure out the way forward. Because something's got to change. Like you need, like in any aspect of your life, you always need to adapt and change and move forward. So I think society has to do that, and society does. Like it's just really slow. Change is slow. But hopefully we can learn and move forward. Yeah.
So, man, we've been chatting for over 2 hours already, man. That's
really,
it's crazy, man.
You know what's funny? We haven't even chatted about.
I was just thinking that.
We haven't touched like the music.
The new Joe Rogan podcast.
I was gonna say, I feel like we're on Q&A. That show on ABC Q&A talking about today's the
but
hot
that's
topics.
more fun than kind of being rigid about your conversation at the same time. You know what I mean?
True.
Like, you're okay with having that sort of open, free flow kind of conversation.
Oh, I prefer that. I prefer like just having a good conversation about whatever comes up.
And that kind of stuff, because you just never know what's going. You learn a lot more from people that way as well.
Well, like you were saying before, I think people will get more of a feel about the people that you're having on the podcast by having these sort of impromptu conversations rather than just a set question and answer sort of format.
Absolutely, man.
Because then they can get a feel for the person and what they believe in different aspects of life and stuff. So
it also allows, like we touched a lot about like mindset and productivity and stuff, which is something that really defines you as a person.
Yeah.
Because again, like it gives a really good part of like the kind of character and like ambitions and whatever you have. So, but obviously all of that comes back. In your case, it comes back to the music, and in our case, it comes back to like the love for music and wanting to promote and grow and all that stuff. But stuff like that is in my personal opinion, is far more interesting to hear about. Like what actually defines people and the mindset behind it, rather than hear about some generic questions you might have answered on a ton of previous interviews and stuff. You know what I mean?
Like the sort of, what do you got coming up?
Exactly. Because
favorite song on the planet.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't mind those questions as well, because I love talking about the music.
Absolutely.
Like, I will give.
But try doing it 30 times in a row though, then you start doing.
Man. Sorry, no. But like, what I do, I make a game of it. Every time I give a slightly different answer. It's the same answer, but I try to answer it in a different way.
Okay.
Like, so people ask for like, what's this song about? And I can you know, I'll say what it's about, or like sort of vaguely, because I never try to get too specific about what the song's exactly about, unless I've specifically written this song about this one thing, and everyone else's opinions of the song are wrong, and this is exactly what it's about. But it's hardly ever. It's usually like, these are the sort of things that went into that song, and
so it's kind of open for interpretation.
Yeah, a little bit. I always find that really interesting, actually, when I meet fans and stuff, is when someone comes up to me and they're like, oh, you know, and they speak about the song and they're like, oh, this line or this lyric and this is what I got from it, and they've got something else that I didn't intend, or like it's sort of in the ballpark but they've taken something else from it, and I'm always like, that's really cool. I really hadn't thought of it like that. But so I find that's cool, and I hardly ever like go, well, actually you're wrong. Like, I'm never going to be like, you're wrong, because it's art. It's open for interpretation. Because say, for example, if you're a painter, you'd have 10 people stare at the same painting for 10 minutes and have 10 different impressions of it. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of like that with songs as well, you know, like there is a sort of, this is what the artist is trying to get across. This is the emotion, sort of more like the vibe, the emotion, the feeling behind it, rather than like, this is specifically what I'm trying to say. Unless sometimes I do that. It's sort of hard to define, you know, like, you know, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. So, you know, but yeah, it's interesting to hear what other people get from it.
Absolutely, man. And it's also interesting sometimes to hear like what sort of like influences you when you're creating songs. I'm sure I had that question before.
Oh, man, but like, I like it. Like, so I've often said that even the stuff I don't like influences me, because I'm like, I don't want to sound anything like that, because that's not something I like.
Justin Bieber.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, do you know, I want to be a bit more authentic. Like, there's a lot of people out there, I'm not going to rag on anyone because everyone's doing their thing, but like there's artists out there, there's musicians out there making stuff which I just I can't connect with, because I just don't think they've got anything to say. Like, you know, I don't really like a lot of the bitches and bling stuff music, you know, where it's all about, look at how much I got, look at all the bitches I got around, all the bling, all the money, and I'm like,
it's all the superficial stuff.
It's very like, I can't really, I can't relate, and B, it's sort of just like, I don't know, I don't think you're saying anything worthwhile. Do you know? Think, you know, maybe you are, maybe like, and obviously they're connecting with certain people. It's always hard because I try not to judge other people on what they're doing, because like, they're obviously connecting with an audience. They've got an audience, and a lot of them have way bigger audiences than we'll ever have, which is hard to swallow sometimes. But at the same time, you're like, well, good on them. If someone gets something out of that, like if people just want to walk around and they want to sing those silly lyrics, and it's giving those people, that's what it's giving those people. But I don't know, to get back to, what influences me, like I'm always being influenced by different things. But my core influences, obviously, musically, are bands like your Sepulturas, Fear Factory, Chimaira. Like, when I started All This Filth, I wanted to sort of try have, like, the core of it was going to be sort of groove metal mixed with, like, industrial metal and, then slight influences of other things. That was always the core of it. So if you could mix, like, Sepultura, the groove, and, like, the energy of that with, like, Fear Factory's industrial tinge, and then like Chimaira and other bands, and then as I got older, like bands like Ministry, and like I love that sort of stuff. And then the other guys in the band bring other stuff to the table as well. And I'm always trying to find new music. I'm trying to listen to what's coming out now as well. But I don't know, the older I get as well, like it's not just music that influences me. Like I find watching movies, or even like, I don't know, I think I like when I was younger, I didn't really appreciate like art, like as in like paintings and stuff like that. But as I got older, I really do, like, I don't know, and movies as well, like really good movies that sort of, can sort of get into your soul or make you think or feel something. I like that sort of stuff. Like, yeah, there was a movie came out a couple of years, like actually came out in the early 2000s, but I only saw it a couple of years ago when we were writing Misery Season, and I saw it on TV. It was called Hedwig and the Angry Inch. And it's based on a play, like a musical. It's a musical, but it's sort of a rock thing. So you know how like in musicals people be like walking down the street and then all of a sudden they just bust into a song? I always hated that. And I'm like, oh God, just like tell your story. You don't have to bust out into a song. But this one was sort of like, it was like a band on tour, and he's telling the story, or she. So the story is crazy, like. And like, I'm going somewhere with this, so stay with me. But because like, it's the story that's so crazy that you think nobody's going to be able to relate to that. But I think there's relatable moments in this story of of this guy. He grew up in East Berlin during, you know, the with the wall and all that sort of stuff. And he basically wanted to get out, and he was sort of on the spectrum, sort of, you know, gay, bi, or whatever. And he met a soldier and was like, oh, I can marry him and then move to America. But to marry him, I have to be a female. So, like, he has like a sex change operation, but it doesn't really take. And instead of being like a man or a woman, sort of like in between. And the angry inch is referring to the inch, like there's a song like called Angry Inch, and it's like 6 inches forward, 5 inches back, because basically what happened was, like, he had the operation, but then the vagina sort of closed up, and there's just a 1 inch mound of flesh where the vagina like never was and the penis used to be. And so this person goes to America, gets dumped by the guy that he moved there with, and now starts a band and like starts writing music, because she would like she like, that's the thing, Hedwig was really influenced by like David Bowie and then Aretha Franklin and all that, like, you know, glam rock and all that sort of stuff, and then starts a band, and then like sort of it's about like finding yourself and all this sort of shit. And like it sounds crazy, but like, I don't know, at the time when I saw that, like, I really related to it, not because I'm like, I've got like a 1 inch mound of flesh between my legs or anything, but like just the story of like trying to find yourself and trying to find love and like being okay with who you are, is sort of the moral of that story, or that's what I took from it anyways. And like, I don't know, it just sort of, I don't know, resonated with me. And I find you can do that in anything, like with any sort of art. And so I get like influenced by that in the music as well, and it sort of comes out in a lot of stuff. I think life is just sort of trying to find who you are and where you fit, and being okay with who you are. Do you know what I mean? Instead of you know, trying to fit into anyone else's mold. Like, this is the life you've got. You only you can live it. So do what you want to do, you know? And like, yeah, I don't know, it's just crazy. And
crazy story, man.
Yeah, it's meant to. I highly recommend it. I highly recommend it. It's great because the songs are great. They're all like rock and punk sort of songs, and yeah, it's great movie.
Where did you find this?
I just saw it on SBS, but it's called Hedwig and the Angry Inch. It's a Broadway. It was on Broadway as well, musical sort of thing.
Wow.
But yeah, it's like a rock band sort of thing. But yeah, and the good thing about it is like the stories are told, like all the songs are like them on tour playing, and it's telling the story of what's happening in your life. I think that's a cool thing as well, like using music and to tell your story as well. I always thought that was cool. So that's a cool aspect in music and stuff. Yeah, and like I've recently got into Van Gogh, like Van Gogh paintings and stuff, you know. Oh wow. Vincent Van Gogh, because I saw another movie which is really cool called I was telling you about this.
Yeah, that's right.
Called Loving Vincent. And it was the world's first painted movie. So you know how they animate movies, right?
Yep.
This one was painted. Like, it was like done by animation, but they painted like in the style of Vincent Van Gogh, and they painted like a part of his life story. So it's sort of animated, but people acted it out, like kind of like that Scanner Darkly movie, where they had people act it out and they animated it. But what they did was they had people act this out, so they're actual actors that you would recognize. And then they painted the scenes and they made it out. And it was really cool. And it got me into Van Gogh. And it got me thinking that, like, he went his whole life, like, painting, right? And he treated it a lot like a job as well. But he never sold a painting while he was alive. And, like, he used to go out and, like, just spend all day. Like, he would get up at, like, you know, sun up and just paint all day. And then, like, that was his job all day, every day. But he didn't get paid for it. And while he was alive, he didn't sell any paintings, and then he died, and like that story in itself is just interesting, like his life story and how he died and that, and like the mental issues and struggles and stuff. But I always thought that was really sad that he made it all the way through his life. He died not knowing that, like, thinking he was a failure, people telling him he's a failure, like, give it up, you're a shit painter, because back what he was doing was painting the world the way he saw it, and people didn't want those paintings back then.
Yeah.
But now, Vincent van Gogh, forget about it. He's like,
what, millions?
Yeah, one of the biggest artists of all time. Like, influenced everyone, and I just think that's crazy. Like that, like he went his whole life thinking he was a failure and died thinking that, and never sold a painting when he was alive. So like, I don't know. That's kind of a cool story to know as well, just to sort of just keep
really
going.
sad story, actually.
It is. But that's just it. If you're doing anything artistic and creative, like the reality is you could go your whole life and you might not ever make it, like in inverted commas, make it or be successful. But if you're doing what you want to do, in a way you are successful. Do you know what I mean? Like you're living the life that you chose to live, and that's what you're supposed to be here to do, or that's what you want to be here to do.
Your legacy, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, but the thing is, you know, not everyone's going to be Vincent van Gogh, you know what I mean?
Of course, yeah.
But like, as long as you're doing that, you know, I mean, who are you hurting? You're adding to the world. You're not taking anything really from the world. You're not hurting anyone. What's the big deal? Is you know, if you're living your life and you're not in anyone's way hurting anyone or whatever, you know, what's the problem? You know?
Yeah.
And it's interesting that his painting became successful after he had passed away. So
he got one good review just before he died, and like, so I think he was gonna kick off, but yeah, it didn't didn't quite get there and stuff, but.
I think he went a little nuts towards the end of his life.
Oh yeah, he cut off his ear.
Cut an ear off,
yeah. And like he was in and out of mental institutions and stuff. Oh yeah, it's like, and I can relate to that. Well, not the mental institution. Well, almost. But that's a whole other story. But yeah, the mental health aspect of it, I can sort of relate to. I got my own struggles as well, as a lot of people do. So yeah, it's yeah, I don't know why I brought that up. I just thought it was interesting. I thought I'd share it.
No, it is, man.
It kind of relates to the music world in a sense, really, if you think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just anything in art is all sort of mixed in together. Music, painting, whatever it is. It's all art, really. But that whole life story about, like, you see it all the time where, okay, so some of these musicians did become successful during their life, like your Elvis Presleys and Nirvana and things like that. Yeah. But it wasn't until after they died that they became cult figures.
Yeah,
you know
legacy.
That's true, actually.
It's much the same sort of story as Vincent van Gogh, you know? So who knows? You could do something and not be successful, and then, you know, decades down the track, it'll be just a thing that's
not just that, you could be ahead of your time as well.
I think that's a really good point. Like you're kind of doing something that people right now, I find it sort of a little bit too hard to relate to, because it's either too controversial or too outside the box, you know?
Exactly. Van Gogh was apparently quoted as always saying, like, I'm painting paintings for people that haven't been born yet. And it's like, you know, because, you know, he was doing things like all those weird swirls and stuff. But I look at those paintings, I think they're really cool. Like, because people would paint a landscape and you just look and it looks static. And like, don't get me wrong, there's really good people that can do that. And you're like, wow, there's a lot of detail in that. And he would paint like a field of wheat. And like with the swirls all through it, you can sort of see the wind go through it, and I just find that really fascinating. I was like, that's kind of cool. Do you know what I mean? Like, because it looks like it's moving. It's not at all.
It's like bringing them to life, so to speak.
Wow. Yeah, I just thought that's really interesting, and you know, he was sort of one of the first to sort of do that sort of thing, and I think that's really cool, and that's why he's known now. You know, So talking about him now, hundreds, you know.
When was this? When he was around?
I'm not 100% sure. Like late 1800s.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Late 1800s, early 19. I don't know. Late 1800s, I'm pretty sure he died.
Pre-COVID, anyway. So.
Yeah. Well, COVID didn't get it.
Yeah, pre-COVID. Pre this COVID. I think there was other COVIDs around that time as well, wasn't there?
Well, there's always been diseases. You
Spanish flu was like the early 1900s.
Yeah, that's about 100 years ago.
There's always something, you know.
They say that that'll be the end of humanity, will be the virus. That's the one thing. It's not going to be an asteroid or another animal or species or whatever, or even our own nuclear weapons. Or
I was going to say, you don't reckon
a virus.
You don't reckon that mankind will end itself by all the crazy fighting?
No, it'll be something silly as like a virus, which we can somewhat control if we just put our heads together.
I just think, I mean, I don't know, like. It's hard to like, we were talking about having a hope for humanity, and then you're looking at, we're going through, like, the world's going through this big pandemic where we really should all come together and put everything else aside to try to solve this problem. And then you look at the news now and, like, Israel and Gaza, they're all at it again, the Palestinians and whatnot. And like, that's just there's wars around the world that are just so complex, and there's these people that are just fighting, and you wonder if, like, because it's intergenerational, you know what I mean? Like, they're raised to hate these people because of this, and it's like, man, like, I almost want to, like, people look at ways to solve the whole, issues in the Middle East, and it's almost like, at the end of the day, I think people really just want to get on with their lives and live their lives, and if you can get all those people out of that area and just let the other people fight it out for whatever fucking ideological thing or political push for power or whatever the fuck you're trying to control. Like, it's just stupid when you really get down to it. All these, like fighting over ideas and just it's when you break it right down, it's all about control and power and like who's got this bit of land and that bit of land because this is valued at this and that, and we've got oil and they don't have oil, so we want, and it's just insane to think that. So I mean, like, maybe it'll be like, I don't know, you're probably right though. What could be anyway is like biological warfare. They'll invent some sort of biological weapon that somebody will unleash on someone else, and it'll get out of control and take us all out.
Yeah, with if they're unleashing a virus somewhere. That's what I'm saying, it just comes down to the virus. So that'll be the thing that'll sort of, because we're very vulnerable to it. It's the one thing that we're just so susceptible to.
And because they're always adapting as well.
Yeah. Everything else we can kind of control, but the virus thing has always been our sort of weakness in our particular species.
That's true.
Interesting.
I think it'll be the end. But not to say that it will be the end, but I think if anything's going to end us, it'll be that. So, and this pandemic is kind of a little preview of what
a little teaser.
So,
to see what's ahead.
Jeff Hannon from Slayer was a big thing on that that thought process.
Yeah.
He actually thought the virus was going to be the thing, and if he was around to see what's going on now, he'd be like, "I'm right, I knew it,"
Yeah, but I don't know. Like, hopefully we can pull it together. Like, I'd like to say that I believe that, but I mean,
I think we'll get through this. Okay. Eventually, it's just that the learning part of it, I'm a bit worried that we won't learn from.
That's what I mean. If we can learn from it and learn how to deal with things better and adapt, which is really, because I mean, the virus is going to adapt. We need to adapt. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, man, Mother Earth will still be here. Eh?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
It's one of those things.
We can't save the planet. We can only save ourselves. We can't do anything about the planet, but we have this thing called Earth Day and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, what is really the idea behind that? It's not really about the planet. It's more about ourselves, saving the human species. So,
absolutely, man.
Yeah. The planet says we're fine. We're here long after we're gone. So we're probably going to be floating around in space eventually. What do you call it? Colonizing other planets and all that.
Oh, that's a whole different conversation, eh?
That will happen eventually. It's so I can't remember there was apparently there's different stages for like species and all that, and we're like at the bottom level, and the other levels are like interplanetary, then into solar system, into galaxy, and so on and so forth, and just mining different planets and stuff like that. Because we only mine this planet, it's only a matter of time before we start mining other planets.
Well, because the resources are finite, do you know what I mean? There's only so many resources in the Earth that you can keep taking.
Exactly.
But again, that's about adaptability, is finding new ways to reuse the resources we have, or to find other ways to do things we need to get done,
Yeah.
This is getting deep now, man.
I feel like we just, every time we go to try to talk about music, we end up getting back to the pandemic somehow. And then back onto like some sort of socio-political freaking thing. Or me talking about weird movies I've seen. Like, what is happening?
Well, that's the beauty of free flow conversation.
It is, man. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, crazy.
Well, we should probably wrap it up here and then try and get you guys back another time, because I've really enjoyed this, man.
Yeah, no, thanks for having us. It's been good fun.
This was awesome, man.
I'll do this again. We'll do this again when
definitely, yeah.
Like sometime before the album's coming out.
Oh shit, the fire's frozen.
Oh no.
That sounds like something you can't say. The fire is frozen.
The fire is frozen. That sounds like a great song title.
Yeah, Frozen Fire.
Fire is frozen. Oh, wait,
there we go. There you go.
I fucking hate it when technology doesn't work.
Yeah.
My phone's been playing up lately, and it's just, I'm not even going to get started. I'm just going to fucking rant about it. Yeah.
But just before we wrap up, obviously give a shout out to Metal United, because if anyone made it so far, nearly 2.5 hours into the conversation, we obviously started out by mentioning Metal United, but Just give a shout out again.
So, just in case you're just tuning in, I'm Brendan from All This Filth. We are a metal band. We play metal music. And we'll be playing at Metal United at Badlands Bar on June 12th. Yeah, Saturday, June 12th. Tickets from OzTix, yeah?
Yep.
Tickets from OzTix, they're selling pretty fast.
Yeah, a bunch of people already bought tickets, so we're going to have a good crowd for this show.
So get onto that, get your tickets. I think, what are they, $20 or something?
$20,
bargain.
Pre-sale, yeah.
Yeah, $20.
Yeah, seven bands for $20.
That's 7 bands. You got Depravity, Vanadium BC,
you guys,
Infinite Exile, us,
the
Fura,
and Thunderblood and Jamat. So a real mix of different sort of bands.
Yep. So. If you like groove metal, industrial. Wait, we call ourselves industrial groove core. If you like industrial tinged groove metal, like hit us up. We'll be there. If you like, black metal, you got the Fura.
Death metal. We got heavy rock. We got progressive stuff.
We got thrash.
Everything.
The streaming services as well. iTunes and Spotify and all that sort of stuff. So just look us up online. All This Filth. AllThisFilth.com is the best place to go for all the information. And follow us on Insta, Facebook, Twitter, and
all that stuff.
All your socials.
Whatever your.
And what's that? So is that all this filth?
AllThisFilth.com.
AllThisFilth.com. Yeah.
Bang.
At All This Filth. I think we are on Facebook.
On all the different platforms.
Social medias, Twitter and stuff. So yeah. But yeah, thanks for having us on.
No, it's a pleasure, man. I really enjoyed it.
It's been good fun, yeah. And,
not that much talk about music, but really good conversation nevertheless.
I feel like there's some things that I probably should have said in there, thrown in there, and promoted us more, but...
We kind of went in and out, but it's all good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was a good time.
So it's a good opportunity to get you guys back and we'll have another chat.
Yeah, maybe that'll be then I'll be able to answer more questions about the new album and stuff.
Yeah, I was about to say and we can have a chat after the show, maybe a couple of weeks after the show or something, and we'll have an update on the album and all that stuff.
Yeah, well, we at the moment we've just finished we did sort of 2 weeks, couple days 1 week, and we did 5 days the other week. Tracked the first 5 songs to the next album, which are sounding pretty cool. Just got to do the keys and the synths and the samples for those 5 songs. And then we're sort of in various stages of writing the other songs for the album.
Yep.
And then we're looking out. Our goal is to be back in the studio in August. And then maybe more gigs coming later as well. And then again, back in the studio sort of a couple months after that, and have the whole album finished by November, December this year.
Yeah, sick.
That's the plan anyway. So, yeah, just hoping it all goes well.
And then plenty of months to plan the promo stuff.
Exactly, yeah. And then yeah, hopefully it'll be out late next year, hopefully. So,
yeah. It's going to be a lot of work, but
that's the goal.
We'll be having fun doing it while we're doing it.
Yeah, it'll be out next year, one way or the other. And just stay tuned to the socials because we're on that pretty regularly. So
yep.
Yeah.
Head over, subscribe.
Yeah.
Follow and all that stuff.
Us, get involved. Send us some questions.
Get on to some Q&As.
Yeah. We might do another one of those at some point soon. Yeah.
Yep.
That'd be good. I like those. So.
Awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, thanks for supporting
brilliant
local music and supporting All This Filth. If anyone's listening from the ATF crew, you guys are the best fans. And yeah, thanks again for having us on. It's been great, man.
Wicked. Let's do it again.
Yeah, let's do it.
Absolutely, man. Thanks a lot, guys.
No worries.
All right. Cheers, man.
Cheers.